Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Game Informer Show. I'm Ben Hanson, joined by Matt Burtz.
Hello.
And Andrew Reiner.
Why, hello, sir.
This is it.
Yes.
This is a big show.
Yeah.
8 years in the making. Finally, Red Dead Redemption 2 review discussion will be coming up on this episode. Burtz, you have finished the game.
Yep, bloodshot eyes and all.
I love it. I love that I have no idea really what you think about this. I've heard a couple of loose concepts, but that's about it. So not only are we talking about that, this episode, Reiner, we're not done with Spider-Man yet.
Yeah, it just keeps going.
It keeps coming. So the first wave of DLC, we'll talk about that. Fallout 76 beta impressions.
Yeah, I've played some of it.
Awesome. Then J.V. Gwaltney's pretty hot on the return of Obra Dinn from the creator of Papers, Please. He'll be in here to talk about that. And then there's Gwent, the Witcher 3 thing, and then Thronebreaker, the Witcher Tales, card game, story-based card game.
That's the official title.
You're
not riffing. That whole thing.
I'm so confused about what this is, but we're going to have Cyril and Tack in to talk about that. Then community emails. Back half of the show, I'm very excited by our special guests in the studio. It's not going to sound like crap this time. We have Mark MacDonald.
Oh my gosh.
Who you might know from EGM, 1UP, all that stuff, 8-4-Play podcast, if you listen to that. He's going to be in the studio along with Tetsuya Mizuguchi, acclaimed Japanese developer. And it's so awesome to have not only a Japanese developer that speaks English pretty well, but then to have them in studio. Like, he was at Sega since 1990. Like, the insight that guy has into the game industry that we rarely get access to on the podcast is just incredible.
You could touch him because he's here.
Yeah, he's worked with Sakurai. He knows Ueda well. It's just so refreshing to have that firsthand to talk about. But not only do we interview them, but then upon their request, we also do a rapid fire interview, which is normally something we do for cover story trips, like filming in the studios and stuff. But we lobbed 78 questions rapid fire to Mizuguchi on the podcast. It's going to be edited. It's going to be odd, but he has some great stories in there talking about like how Michael Jackson wormed his way into Space Channel 5 and how he had to like critique the performance of Michael Jackson and stuff. He also reveals his favorite song of all time, which is completely unpredictable. And, you know, you could argue whether or not it's a great song. But it's an honor to have them. So stay tuned to the back half of the show because they talk a lot about Tetris Effect, their new game, which I'm very excited about. Also, real quick before we get to Red Dead, a reminder, Extra Life is coming up November 3rd.
November 3rd. Saturday?
For
25 hours?
25 hours straight. So we're starting at 8 a.m.
DLC hour added on the back end of that?
Exactly. Yeah, it costs extra, too, as long as you donate. But we're raising money for Gillette Children's Specialty Healthcare in St. Paul, Minnesota, and we're going to be playing a lot of fun games over 25 hours, but also we're going to have a lot of fun reasons to donate, to make us eat bugs, throw a pie in our face.
Wait, us or just Leo Vader?
I think more than Leo's getting into this bug game, right, Leo?
I hope so.
Yeah, I think that's the plan, man.
I heard a lot of bugs. I'm not going to be that hungry.
I am terrified of bugs. Oh my God, it's going to be rough. But we also have a bunch of auctions, like amazing stuff from, you know, the Pokemon companies sent us a ton of stuff. Like BioWare sent us some amazing things. We have things from Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red. Let's see, God of War, some really good stuff. So there's a lot of very rare items that you can bid on, and it all goes to charity. It's a win-win.
Awesome.
Nice.
November 3rd. Check it out. Okay, here we go. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
No spoilers. We're all in a pact on that, right?
Yep, no spoilers.
Okay, just kind of general. If you consider gameplay detail spoilers, you might want to skip ahead, but we're all promising.
I mean,
no
we're going to give you the
here.
framework of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we already know how it ends, so that gives us a little latitude.
That's
right?
true.
You know,
that helps. That helps a little bit. But again, super light on story and all that stuff. But Burtz, how is it?
It's the best.
Damn it! Okay, I was hoping for something more interesting, but all right, the best.
Well, that's where we can start. There's way more interesting things to say because you can't be the best without being interesting, right?
Right.
And this is the most vividly realized open world that's ever been created. It is remarkable, the attention to detail that is in this world. And that's whether you're talking about the ecology and the landscape and the weather, and talking about like the cities. They recreated cities. It feels like the most interesting historical recreation of a time period I've ever played in a video game.
Your favorite open world of all time now?
Yes. And it's honestly not that close for me.
Holy God, what was it before, do you think?
Probably GTA 5.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Rockstar Gem. Okay, so does it take a while to appreciate how amazing that world is? Or right out of the game, right out of the gate, is it just like, okay, this is the best?
Yeah, I mean, you're standing in the wilderness, bugs are flying around, you hear the rumbling of thunder, and you look up and see lightning flashes that go up against the mountains in the distance. You can see the weather roll in, the animals all around you, the dynamic encounters. You know, it's just a world that you can get lost in.
Reiner, how much have you played?
I'm about 70 hours in. And I'll say this, like, for every hour I dedicated early on, I was ticking 1 percentage point of game completion.
Interesting.
That is now slowed considerably. as I'm out exploring the world more and just taking it in. Like I was just on the critical path, and critical path is what, 75 hours?
Yeah,
on its own.
I was mainlining it because it's really easy to get pulled off the path, but we were on a time crunch and I'm trying to get this done for review.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, I just said to say goodbye hunting, goodbye fishing. I'll see you later. I'm going to just go with story missions from here on out.
Over 70 hours?
Yeah, this is the biggest game they've ever made.
Yeah.
Holy Lord.
Yeah.
Reiner, how many times did you sit back and just say, Jesus Christ? How many times were you just like wowed by what you're seeing in the game?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I said, wow. Probably 100 times. Like, seriously, like just blown away by a detail, like just a little thing in the world that I haven't seen in other games.
Do you have examples of one that really
just the way that your character interacts with things? Like everything is fully realized. There isn't just like a magical moment of like a door opening or anything like that. And they have unique custom animations for pretty much everything you're doing in the game.
Yeah.
And then the interiors, like, I don't think I saw anything that was like really repeated.
No, not at all.
You see that a lot in open world games, like, oh, there's that bathtub again, or you know, in Fallout.
Right.
This game, even Spider-Man, like, oh, there's that storefront again. This game, every building I went into, every house, unique, and I mean fully stacked with stuff.
Yeah, like
when you go shopping, it's like you're really going shopping. You're looking at all the shelves, you're interacting with them, you're going through catalogs, looking at items.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Every single house that you go into, like different wallpaper, different furniture, you know, different lighting. Yeah, it's really remarkable. And, you know, that was one of the things some people didn't like about that first game is like you couldn't go into a lot of the buildings. You can go into a lot of the buildings in this one.
Okay.
And there'll be things where I'll be like, okay, I'm heading to my mission. It's like a mile out that way. And I see a little cabin off to the side. And it's like, well, I'll just go investigate that. And the next thing I know, I'm on this crazy storyline, like that's bonkers. And I text Bert, so I was like, you got to go to the pig farm, man.
Yeah.
There's crazy stuff going on at the pig farm. But that was just something on the side that I never would have experienced.
Just someone saying like, hey, cowboy, come over here.
Not even that. I just saw a house. And I was like, I want to go investigate. And then as I got closer, someone came outside and started talking to me.
Yeah.
And there's things that happen at different times in the day, too. So, like, I don't want to give away, like, the big examples, but let's say you go in a house and there's people in there doing something.
Yeah.
That activity might lead to something different at night. So if you come in at night, you might see something completely different.
Wow. So you guys have repeatedly said in the office, all I really knew was it's huge. Good God, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's so big. It's massive. I've also heard it takes a while to get going. Did you guys have that experience?
I don't know. I liked the game from the get-go, and that never stopped. You know the character arcs already for the most part. Like there's stuff you're filling in because you're meeting new cast members of the Vanderlyn gang.
Okay.
You're learning about them. You're learning more about the people you already knew.
Yeah.
So I was immediately engaged in the story. That didn't really feel like that to me.
The one thing I'll say is, in terms of the open world, they don't just drop you in it. You're on a very guided tour at the beginning, or these story sequences that don't let you go explore because of where you're at in the world.
So you start out in some place separate than the open world.
No,
you're
in the open world.
It's. I don't even want to spoil the beginning of the
Sure.
game. There's something going on that it's a very guided intro. It's walking you through certain mechanics, but as Bert is saying, you really getting to know the characters and what the story is at that point.
Yeah.
And then it opens up.
How long
when
does that
things
take?
change? A few hours.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. What about like
So yeah, I mean that's maybe what you're hearing is it's slow in that capacity of just letting you go crazy.
Also, it seems like it really wants to immerse you in the world. Like, do you think anybody's going to be annoyed by cleaning the guns or like skinning animations? I've also heard that's a little bit.
The skinning animations are serious, and they're different for every
They're
animal.
gross.
You know,
they're
like
really brutal.
yeah, rabbits. You just rip the skin off. But you know, like if you kill a bear, like he's going in there and cutting along the edge of the body to get the fur off. It's pretty complex.
He's like cutting every angle. You're watching the whole thing. He's pulling it out, and it's all like physics based. It looks perfect.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's a little goofy how quickly he does it, but I mean, the attention to detail there is bonkers. And then you think like, that was one animal. What if I kill a different one? And there's a whole different animation for that one. And there's
hundreds of animals.
Yeah, like
This is an expensive game to make.
Yeah.
Holy God. What about like the story overall, without spoiling things? Like, does it stack up? Does it compare to the first Red Dead just on a storytelling level?
So I think they kept using the term companion piece to describe that. He said it's not a prequel, it's a companion piece. And I didn't really understand that. You called it 2, which doesn't make sense to me still. But I feel like it is a good companion piece. It blends seamlessly with Red Dead. I feel like the arc goes right into Red Dead in a really natural way.
To the point that people should really refresh themselves in Red Dead before.
I
coming
know.
to
I
this?
mean, honestly, you could play this first and then go and play Red Dead, and
Yeah.
that's the transition that's seamless. And the story does interesting things. But you already know like the broad strokes, so you're basically watching the decay of a gang and like factions develop in a gang, and
Yeah.
you know, like you watch Dutch Vanderland, who we know what happens to him in Red Dead Redemption. Seeing him go from like a charismatic and like thoughtful leader to kind of unhinged is a really convincing portrait, and one of the best portraits of villainy I think I've seen across all media. I really like how it's slow. It's a slow burn as you see him change. And he goes from like this guy where everybody wants to hang out with him and he's the life of the gang to like a lot of people don't know if they trust him anymore, and he's muttering to himself. Like, it's a really interesting evolution of a character.
Huh.
Yeah, and John Marston is there too, and he's really interesting because like if you played the first game, you kind of keep your eyes on him at all times, just
course.
because you want to see how he develops too, and you get a lot of stuff. Like you start thinking about stuff in Red Dead Redemption 1.
But
like,
I like-
okay, I see this now. I understand him a little better.
Yeah. But
so
he's
I
never
would
really
say-
the star of the show. They never really go out of their way to say it's all about John in the end.
I mean, you go on missions with them individually, where they are very much front and center.
Yeah,
And
so-
everybody in the gang, they're front and center for periods. Where
Okay.
Arthur is just kind of like the guide, like a companion along this. Even though you're controlling him, you're really more invested in what's going on with these people in your.
His story comes,
gang.
you know, earlier in the game, we were saying like this game feels like it's more about Dutch than it is about Arthur.
Okay.
Arthur's moment comes later. Like he starts
I'm
to
in
become
that now,
a bigger centerpiece of the story, and he has his own interesting trajectory that I don't want to talk about too much, but
Yeah.
he and Marston have a complex relationship because they were both under the tutelage of Dutch. They both kind of grew up with him, and they kind of have a brotherly rivalry that plays out.
Right.
And it goes in interesting directions. And you don't always know where it's going. There are some things that are telegraphed, and you're like, oh, I could see this coming. But overall, they kind of try to throw you some curveballs as well.
So is it just the amount of missions in the game, or what's taking so much time to get through?
Yeah, each area has, I mean, everything's kind of cut into chapters. The open world isn't, but just the way that the narrative is structured, and you can go back and look at the missions you've done. I mean, you're doing upwards of 15 missions per chapter. Some of them are the side story content where you're meeting interesting people, you know, like the creator of the electric chairs in the game, you know, like they're doing some fun stuff with history like they did last time.
Yeah.
And then you're just spending a lot of time getting to know these guys and to really feel the impact of the band, kind of the fabric fraying that's holding them together.
Right.
I think you need to spend a lot of time with them, and that's why I kept asking myself, is there stuff they could have cut? Could they have streamlined this a little bit and kept it intact? Maybe in little spots here or there, but overall, like I feel like they used that time well.
Because it's just a lot of roaming around the camp, talking to these people, getting to know them. Is that a big part of the game, is just sitting around the camp talking?
It's as big as
can
you want
be,
it to
yeah.
be, honestly. Like
Okay.
you can do it every night. You can come back every night. You can not show up there for several days and just camp out in the wilderness. It's kind of up to you how much you engage with that system.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of time you're just on horseback riding from point A to point B. And I
Is there
think some
fast
people
travel?
Kind of.
Kind of, yeah. It comes up later in the game.
And it's only from kind of like there are the train stations and the stagecoaches that can fast travel, but you need to go to a city, or from your base you can unlock the ability to go to another place. But you even
can't
with
pick
that,
where you want to go.
you
Right.
can't fast travel out of where you're at after you do a mission. Like every once in a while they'll throw in an option. Do you want to go back to camp with them? So they just speed you there, which is really nice. I kind of wish they did that more often. Because there are times where you're just like, oh, I'm hot on the story. I want to keep going with this.
Yeah.
I don't need to stay in this region. But they're usually like, the entire trajectory of the story is putting you in different places in this giant world. And I feel like they're dropping you off intentionally in an area that you haven't spent too much time with, unless you just already wandered all over the place.
Right.
So it's being done with purpose, but I like a little more player agency and being able to jump around.
And one thing that's interesting about this game's design is we talk about density a lot in open world games, like points of interest, like structures you could go to and all that. This game, it's very open. You're not going to see a lot of that. So that's where you're at that point, like I was talking about, where I saw that cabin. It's like, oh, I want to go there. What they do instead is they'll have events occur kind of sometimes randomly, other times staged, as you're moving from one point to the next. Even you set custom markers. They'll have like a civilian come running out like in distress, like help me, help me, help me. Or you might see like a white question mark on your map pop up. That is a point of interest that could lead to another mission giver. So that's where they establish like points of interest kind of organically as you're playing the game. Like it might not be there for 5 hours, but then the next time you go through there, there's suddenly things there that you can interact with. And I think that's brilliant.
That never stops either. Like throughout the entire game, there was always new strangers. There were always new experiences. Some of the random encounters started to get a little repetitive. I don't know how many people hurt their leg in this Wild West. There's a lot of that, but overall, I mean, it was remarkable. And you don't hear a lot of repeated dialogue either. Even when you're in the city, like there's a New Orleans style city in this game.
Yeah.
And it's dense and it feels like a rock star city. I mean, I heard so much different commentary from all these different people based on the time of day and what was going on and who I was. You know, your honor system plays into how do people react to you.
Yeah.
It's really remarkable how detailed this game is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there was one point where I was riding around and I found a guy with a hurt leg. Actually, his leg was missing. He had a wooden leg and his horse
hurt real bad.
His horse ran off with it. So I had to go calm his horse, bring his horse over. And I was like, okay, that's the end of that. I'll never see this guy again. And he's like, you know what? I'm really good at fishing. You should come to my cabin and let's go fishing. And it's like, that's awesome. And he tells me where he is, like on the map and all that. And it's like, that's a whole nother thread I could go down.
Yeah.
And a lot of the side quest type things, the strangers that you interact with in this game, you meet up with them multiple times over the course of the game. So like a real story develops about them. There's a really interesting one based off, you know, they give loans and then, you know, like basically extort the people or hurt them to get their money back, you know, and there's a really interesting story that develops out of that with one of the characters that you thought it was just a one-off thing, but then you encounter them later and then you encounter them later again. So they're kind of doing the Witcher thing where like they're making meaningful side stories that you're going to remember.
Right. Do you guys have any tips for players starting out? I think, Ryan, you have a feature
I have
on the site.
a whole thing. Yeah, Bert's and I compiled a list of tips that are just, we call it a survival guide. It's just no spoilers, just things you should know, little secrets that you might not know about. Like,
any like big broad strokes that listeners would want to know?
You definitely need to equip your horse with a winter outfit. So you can stash multiple outfits on your horse. No, but for your character.
Put it in the satchel.
Yeah.
Because just weather can strike?
Weather is serious in the game, and like if you're out in the cold and you're not dressed for the cold, you're going to lose health pretty rapidly, and you're going to start to lose stamina. And vice versa, if you're wearing a winter coat while you're in the heated swamps, that's not good for your character either. So like there are some of those kind of survival elements that you're going to have to remember.
A quick and good loop in the game is loot everyone that you take down, because they'll give you items like watches, stuff like that. Don't sell those at stores. Give that stuff to your camp. That turns into money for your camp, and then upgrade your camp, everything in the camp as quickly as you can. Like you just want it, that's like, should be your focus in taking care of your gang, is upgrading the tents, the food, the chickens, all that stuff. Like do that.
Because it's like a morale meter, or like
no, it actually benefits you in the game. Like you can, that's how you unlock fast travel from the camp, is by upgrading Arthur's tent, which you only get after you upgrade Dutch's tent, because Dutch is the leader. And you want to upgrade the horse stable area so you can actually swap between the horses if you own multiple horses there, instead of having to travel to a stable to do it.
Yeah.
There are just some like quality of life things that come out of upgrading your camp.
Right.
A lot of replenishment for like tonics and weapons, ammunition, all that stuff. If you stock your camp, you can just grab it at your camp and replenish there instead of having to go into town.
And by cashing in those items instead of using your own money, you then have that money to go buy stuff in the towns or gamble, any of that stuff. So that's a good loop. Like I got into that, and I really enjoyed like the rest of the game because of that. Like once that was all taken care of early on, I could just focus on the fun stuff.
I'm still trying to get a sense of, do you like this game as much as the first one? Do you like it more?
I think it's the best open world ever made. So that certainly weighs in the equation.
Yeah.
And the story, you can't top the ending of Red Dead.
That's
it's
the
the best
question.
ending ever.
Right.
This ending is a smart ending, and there are things that are unexpected in the ending, and there are things that are natural to the ending, I would say. And that's all I want to say about it.
Totally fair. Okay. But,
So it works for me. The ending works for me.
but overall, do you like the game more than Red Dead 1?
I don't know. I need more time to decide that, because Red Dead's pretty much my favorite game ever made.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, I would say I'm more into the loops of the collecting and all that stuff in this game, which is stuff that kind of spawned from Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
Like the 100% meter, like that was really important for me in GTA 5, but not Red Dead 1.
Yeah.
This one, I'm really focused on it again because there's a lot of fun stuff that you're doing that's adding up to that. The discovery aspect of the open world is so important to this game and done so well. I would say yes, I like it more than the first one. I think I like John more than Arthur.
Right.
But this one does a better job with the supporting cast. So, and they're very interesting.
Yeah.
And this is the highest praise I can give a game. I just mainlined 80 hours of this thing into my brain, and I can't wait to go back to it. There's so much more I want to do.
Not replay it, but just
No, like just
100%
continue what I'm
rolling.
doing. Yeah, like there's so much I didn't do. So I normally would go play a different game and refresh and check something else out. I'm going right back into this game.
At the time of this recording, at least, do you have a review score in your mind? Are you willing to share it?
Yeah.
6.
All right, here we go.
Plus,
It's getting the 10. It's my third 10.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
what, Modern Warfare?
Yeah, Modern Warfare and GTA 4, which is still my favorite GTA probably in terms of story.
That is the level this game is on, is a Modern Warfare GTA 4 level for you.
I feel like if I didn't give it a 10, I would regret it later.
Right. That's totally fair. Any cons, even though it is a 10? Not
Oh, yeah.
perfect.
gunplay for me. Like,
okay.
I just, it's fun. It's done really well. The Deadeye and the snap targeting is super satisfying because you feel like a sharpshooter at all times. Even on horseback, you're just mowing people down.
Yeah.
That's fun. But I think a lot of their mission design just falls back on just like, and then there's a gunfight. Mm-hmm. And then there's a gunfight. Like,
And it
that's
does. The
kinda
game
like
doesn't
over
need
and
it.
over. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like the game, there are quiet moments like the first game. There are missions where there isn't gunfights and you're doing different stuff. You know, that feels more like something you would do in a BioWare game or something. And the game is great in these moments. And I feel like they didn't trust those enough. And they could have put more of those in just to give it a little bit tonal flexibility. I think that would have helped. I also don't like the way they did the challenges, which are, like the hunter, survivalist, weapons expert, like those little things where you get one at a time. Like, drag a guy 300 meters on horseback for your horseman one. I don't like that they're incremental. I wish they were all open because you never know what you're doing in the world. And having already picked like 80 bushels of berries and none of it was included in the challenge when you eventually unlock it and then you have to go do it again. It's like, I wish it was more like Wolfenstein or Far Cry where those things are upgrading incrementally as you're playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there'll be points like ride from this point to this point in 5 minutes. It's like, I've done that 8 times already, and I don't need to do that at where I'm at in the game now.
So there is stuff like that, but when I sit here and I think about like the cons, none of them weigh this game down in any way.
That's just so...
I think everybody should play this game.
Yeah, that's all you got to say.
If you like video games.
Jesus Christ. We talked a long time and debated for months now about doing a game club on this game. Hearing the scope of it, I don't think it's feasible for game club. People would fall off. People wouldn't be able to segment it out right. It'd be a disaster. But we're going to be talking about this game for a long time on the podcast. So I encourage people to write into podcast@gameformer.com with their spoiler-free thoughts on like what stands out to them. And then in future discussions, which I'm sure we'll have for the next couple of weeks, we'll be sure to read your emails in kind of like a game club light type of thing. But trying to tackle this thing, it would kill us. Good God. Red Dead Redemption 2. Very exciting.
It's, you play it. Don't have it spoiled for you. Like, just go out and play it.
Any PS4, Xbox One differences? Any call you'd like to make?
I really haven't.
I'm on Xbox One X. Bert's is on PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
Okay, but standard seems okay.
It just looks
It runs really
stunning.
well on regular PS4 too, I should say.
Okay.
Like the game doesn't have a ton of loads, which is also nice. They hide the loads pretty well.
One thing too, just how smooth it is. Like, oh my God. Like, it flows beautifully. Like,
It just feels like a next-gen game.
oh yeah, it really does. Like,
Yeah.
I know there's a ton of development teams working on it, and I joke to Bert's, it's like, it's almost like each individual one of those development teams made the amount of content for one game, and then all piled it into Red Dead.
That's
how
an
much
awesome way of looking at it. Yeah.
There is so much content in there. Yeah,
Oh my God, your reviews
so
on the
good.
site.
And
Very
so
exciting.
polished. Yeah, beautiful.
There we go. They did it. Can't believe they did it. Bertz, you want to clap out of here, buddy?
Yep, I'm out.
Yep. Oh, Kyle Hilliard. Hi. Warping in to talk about Fallout 76. Leo in the booth. Oh, he's clapping in the booth. Finally,
you
or
didn't
somebody's
need to.
switching
Oh my
cameras.
God. You are already here.
All right. We've talked about it many times on the podcast, but you guys are now playing the beta for Fallout 76?
Yeah, and this is kind of like, obviously they're tweaking it as they go, but your progress carries over to the main game. So it's not your
cool.
typical beta. So it's like kind of day one game playing for us as level 1, level 5, level 7 characters. Now.
Aren't they betas like an acronym for something?
Well,
That's, like,
they
This
break
is.
the game.
Yeah,
No, but
break
within-
it early test application.
Yeah, like they are specific. I feel like they're leaning really hard on the like break this.
Well,
game
all I
sort
know
of
really is
angle.
they put out that statement saying like, "Hey, everybody, heads up, this is going to be a mess."
Bad
they're
game coming up.
they're basically pitching it at A3 even of
Weird
like,
thing.
you know,
Yeah.
be careful, everybody. And so when you're actually in there, how is it?
No, it's,
really?
I didn't. We've talked about it this morning. I didn't run it. I expected like crazy bugs, and even recorded my full play session hoping for insane bugs. But I didn't. I did have bugs, but nothing crazy. It just kind of felt unstable. But I didn't. Nothing. I never got kicked out. Nothing ever broke. You know, like there wasn't some crazy physics where people were flying off into the sky or anything like that.
Yeah.
But there was lots of just like getting caught on geometry and little weird physics hitches and like killing enemies that wouldn't collapse. Like I would just kill robots and they would just remain floating there without any HP.
That
and
seems
stuff like that.
doable.
It's fine.
It's a robot.
Yeah, right.
Frame rate all
frame
over
rate.
the place. Even in the opening sections, like it just start chug for whatever reason. I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on there, but like they said, they're working on it. Hopefully, they can get it ironed out.
Yeah. Leo, as the freak in the booth, what do you think of this game so far?
I had fun. I doubt I'd pay full price for it, but the stuff that works in Fallout 4 still works in this. The crafting and everything, collecting all of the different, adhesive, metal parts like that, scrapping them from the junk you pick up and putting them into your guns. That stuff was engaging and fun. But the main thing is they're replacing NPCs with people, and they forgot to really give you anything to do with people.
With
Wait a
real
minute.
humans, you mean, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You can
Oh.
trade with them or invite them to your party. And I never really end up doing either of those things.
What do you want to do? You want to get married to him? What are you doing over there?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. What would you like for interaction?
Anything. I don't know. Or just put NPCs in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stuck to the critical path this time, whereas when I played it at the Greenbrier for that press event, we were all over the place, exploring, seeing as much as we could. And this one, I was just bouncing from mission to mission to mission. That's like the rapid pace of it. Nothing really had any substance to it. It was go in this structure, look at this computer, go get this item, bring it over here.
Yeah.
I just kept doing that over and over and over and over. And as I'm doing that, the overseer is just kind of briefly talking to me about things.
Yeah.
So I didn't really feel a connection to the world or even the quest line. It just felt like I was just doing all these little tasks. I'm hoping there's like kind of the big dungeons that you go into where you have big quest lines.
Yeah.
But I have not seen anything like that in both of my play sessions yet.
One nice thing I took away from it was how much you can play it like a single player game if you want. Like
Really?
it's,
Okay.
it's a good thing and a bad thing. Like Leo was talking about, like you don't really engage with the other players that much if you don't want to. And for someone like me who really just wants to play it as a single player game, like I was able to do that. Like I was able to explore the world at my own pace, and I saw people running around, but I didn't have to engage with them if I didn't actively want to.
Yeah.
Like mostly they were just kind of they were there doing similar missions just in the world. So for those people that are upset that Fallout's going multiplayer, like there might be something here to check out. Like it can be played as a single player game, which is what they said when it was announced.
Okay. So, yes, you could play it solo. I get out of the vault. I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Up the stairs to the vault comes a guy just in his underwear wearing a birthday cap, bouncing around.
That's Fallout,
jumping around,
baby. Hell yeah.
just doing all sorts of
Is
crazy
that
stuff.
Fallout?
Oh yeah.
He pukes in front of me and then proceeds to follow me for the next 10 minutes.
Was
I
this
am
Leo just
completely-
desperate for human interaction? This is how he's trying to
It's like,
engage
marry
it?
me, marry me. No. But he would not leave me alone. So even if you're playing solo and you just want to soak it all in, do it yourself, humans can ruin that.
The illusion
Yeah.
does get shattered pretty quickly. When I was like walking, I was by myself walking around the first house I found, kind of exploring, and someone just like runs up the stairs, looks at me, gives like an emoji, and then like runs away. And it's like, oh, okay, I forgot that this is like an online experience.
Oh
you know?
damn it.
Yeah.
Just shielding your eyes from the other players.
Yeah,
if you can.
yeah. But I walked to it. I think the game will find its audience. Like there's some interesting stuff happening in there. But yeah, it's a weird thing. I'm very curious to see like how it is received. I don't know if I'm on board personally, but like it's just odd. It's an odd direction for
Yeah.
Fallout.
It
What-
struggles with the same problem I think a lot of MMOs have, where it just feels like you're playing a single player thing on top of each other, and nothing's really
Yeah.
gained from it being
Interesting.
multiplayer.
Yeah, I could see it. What's the deal with the beta? Is it closed? Can people get in
No,
for a window?
so if you pre-ordered it, either physical or digital, You can download the beta application. But it's only on at certain times and on certain days. I thought it was going to be every day.
Yeah.
So they had their play session on Tuesday, the first one. The next one's on Saturday. And this is going to go all the way up till a few days before launch. But it doesn't look like it's going to be every day at any point. And it's just for certain hours, like from 4 to 7 Eastern time. So you don't get a lot of time with it. So even if, you pre-order it, you don't like it, I guess you can cancel your pre-order or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be getting like the full experience during the beta. Like I think they're doing that intentionally so you don't have high-level people when the game actually launches.
Carrying your progress forward is really sweet. Like
Yeah.
that's cool. It almost like in that way it kind of was like launched on Tuesday to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So odd.
Yeah.
I go back and forth on that. Like I think it's cool, but at the same time, if the content is unstable that I'm experiencing, and you have the chance later to experience it in a stable form.
Yeah, first impressions are everything. Right?
Yeah, so that's a little shaky in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, how much of Spider-Man's DLC have you played, Kyle?
I finished the story. I
Okay,
haven't
great.
done all the side objectives. I
Okay,
guess. Yeah.
fantastic. I'm in the exact same boat. And Reiner, you've done everything?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Again, no spoilers. Much like Red Dead, we want to preserve this, especially because it's DLC, which makes
Yeah.
it complicated because it comes after the main game. I was surprised that booting into this DLC, it's like you have to choose DLC in the menu and then go to like a separate campaign, which just clears Manhattan of all other objectives and basically starts anew with a separate set of side missions and main missions in there.
Yeah. I guess certain things do carry over, like landmarks and all that.
Yeah, they're still on
So
the
if you
map.
haven't got that stuff in the main game, you can still get it in the DLC.
Yeah.
But you're totally right. It is a separate thing, an instanced version of that world that you get into. And I thought it was just going to be a side story that would just introduce Black Cat into their continuity.
I
showing
thought
you
it
who
would
she'd
take
be.
place like in the middle of the game.
Exactly. Like just
Oh, okay.
somewhere,
That's what I thought.
an ambiguous time.
Yeah.
But it turns out it's like those shocking post-credit sequences, you're like, whoa, I can't wait for the sequel. They just they keep going. Like the character
I
development
don't know
continues.
about that.
100% continues. Peter and Miles, like that whole thing is direct continuation from the post-credit sequence.
But it's pretty light. I don't want to get expectations up. It's literally like two phone conversations,
But
which are
it's
interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
What's going on there and the mindset of Miles. It feels like the beginning of the second game, right? Like this is what you would expect to find. Like, we still have 2 more chapters to come, and this is all happening in the first one. And
Yeah.
all 3 of these DLCs, by the way, the Heist, the one that's out now, and then the Turf Wars, and then the next one after that are interconnected. They're one big story.
Right, this one like ends on a cliffhanger. Yeah,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Which I was really happy because when I saw the name Turf Wars, I was like, oh, that's the one DLC I don't really think I want to play because I thought it would be like managing sections of the city.
San Andreas, like take over the games.
Yeah,
Type of thing.
but to hear that it's basically like a short 3-part epilogue to Spider-Man, I like it. It's the sort of big post-credit stuff. I can't imagine they'll go into, but the Miles
No.
stuff, they
Maybe.
touched on.
Yeah, I know
Maybe,
they introduced some new characters. Like I didn't expect that. Especially like companion characters, like a new person you're working with the police.
Yeah.
And it just feels like they don't want to skip a beat. They just want to keep rolling. You're totally right. I don't think we're going to see, the big bad for the next game show up or
Yeah.
anything like that.
I kind of like that it kind of goes back to basics of like, it starts out with, hey, there's a heist in the museum and it seems like the mafia is involved. It feels like going after Infinity War, going back to like, the sequel to Homecoming. I'm just like, let's just like,
Right.
go down and get a little micro again here
Sure.
and focus just on small town. Well, not small town, but what's actually
Yeah.
happening in New York City with
Yeah.
some human beings again.
Yes. Yeah,
And-
I see what you're saying.
I like that it offered the full Spider-Man experience in terms of cinematic qualities, gameplay. There's another stealth sequence with Mary Jane, which was fun.
Which is what everybody wants. Did you like the stealth
Yeah,
sequences?
I like that, and I like she has her gadgets from the end of the game.
Yeah,
like I
that's
said,
nice,
it just
yeah.
kind of keeps building. The one thing you don't have is new powers. Like they did not give
Yeah.
Spidey any new abilities. He has new suits. They
But
don't
the
have
suits
associated
powers.
powers.
That's
Yeah.
really odd.
And the bad guys have new abilities. That
They do,
That
yeah.
chain gun guy sucks.
F that. Like you could
Screw that guy.
All the enemy design was just, minigun brute we're introducing.
He's brutal, man.
He's
hard.
insanely difficult. It's so stupid.
Yeah, that encounter with 2 of them, I was like, wow.
Yeah,
And there's rockets
yeah.
flying all over. Like they don't like hold back on difficulty. Like they assume like you finish the game, here's the next
Right,
level of
yeah.
difficulty.
And different styles of difficulty too, where like I thought it has some variety in the mission types even compared to the main game, which was cool, like driving a little spider bot around. And then even, I think it's basically the first mission where, all right, you're in a big art museum and there's people stealing art and trying to run out of the building. And it feels like a tower defense game or something where it's like, okay, I got a marker on that guy. I got to hunt him down in the museum and take him out before he can get to the finish line.
I think they're testing out some sequel ideas here too.
I'm
There's
sure.
one sequence where, I don't want to give away what it is, but Spider-Man and another character are fighting a group of bad guys together, and you can definitely see how that might allow for two heroes to battle in or be together in
Spider-Man has some control over that character.
in a sequel.
Limited, yeah.
Yes, giving
Right.
orders
Commands,
to a certain
yeah.
someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I was a little less hot on it overall. Like the gameplay is solid. I'm happy to see the variety, but I think the writing wasn't really doing it for me. It's like, a lot of people compare the game to Arkham naturally, and then playing through this, it was just, oh, this is just Arkham City with Batman and Catwoman here. Like, Leo, if you were writing a story about a character named Black Cat, what sorts of fun cat references would you slip in?
This DLC is perfect.
Damn close to that. It's about every cat cliche you can shoehorn into this.
A minor correction, that doesn't count as writing.
Peter and Miles talking I liked a lot. Peter and
Yes.
Mary Jane I talked a lot. But Black Cat I was kind of
Jay Jonah's.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
the
he has
Facts
new stuff
again.
too.
Some of the best episodes of J.
Oh
Jonah
my
Jameson's
God.
podcast actually are in this. There's some fun, more timely references to modern culture. I think his is interesting for sure. But
Yeah.
I think it was a combination of so many cat references. Hey, curiosity killed the cat. I got 9 lives over and over again. We got it. But then also just I didn't buy the relationship which they established in the main game. Like Black Cat and Peter have this kind of relationship. Will they, won't they? They've dated in the past. And just all the writing from the game, when it gets flirty, it's just rings so hollow. She's just literally you're doing moves and you hear Black Cat go, ooh, me likey.
It's a bit overt.
It's so stupid. She's carving into the glass, miss me. It's just this is the least sexy thing I've ever seen in my life here.
That's
Video game.
that character, though.
What? Okay, what does it do with that character? Because I'm not a big Spider-Man.
That's Black Cat.
It's just Catwoman. How does that work?
Well, she's a manipulator. She's always had a certain degree of control over Peter Parker in the comics and everything that's had her name on it. And I think they did a really smart thing with her in pulling Peter into this. I don't want to give away what it is, but taunting him with something,
Right.
getting
It's
him to help,
It's an interesting thing.
and making you as a player go, oh God, and even Peter go, oh God, and Mary Jane go, oh God. I thought that was
Right.
brilliant.
Yeah,
I
it
thought
definitely
that was a nice touch.
It touches on that idea with MJ, which was interesting. I don't know. I was a little uneven throughout it about how serious they were taking things. But the idea of just MJ dealing with Peter's past relationship is an interesting concept for DLC for sure.
Does Black Cat in the comics, does she usually have special powers? Or is it really just her grappling hook and athleticism?
she's just mostly
She has
a normal character with
she's
acrobatic.
exceptionally
abilities,
acrobatic
yes,
and with a
yes.
very advanced grappling hook.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's
And
scenes where she's just
different things, claws sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
she's jumping off of buildings. That's a 5-story drop. I think you're just a human. I'm not quite sure what's
Got that
happening.
grappling hook, baby.
All right, that's all you need.
But more substantial than I thought it would be. And so I was very happy
Yeah,
with it.
2 to 3 hours. Some people are saying 4 hours for some certain.
I think if you do all the side stuff.
city crimes
yeah.
can sometimes take time from just a spawn.
What's the cost of this sucker?
$9, $9.99,
And then 20 for all 3.
25 for all 3.
Which are coming out all before the end of the year.
Yes.
Yeah, one a month. So to be continued.
There we go. Super cool. Kyle, you have done an excellent job.
Oh.
Your reward is one
Go
thorough
away!
clap.
Wait. I want to mention very quickly.
Yeah.
There's this game that I'm playing on Switch called Pinstripe.
Okay.
Came out on Steam a while ago, and it was well received. It's a very good, creepy story, 2D platformery thing that I like those kind of games a lot.
Limbo-esque. Just say Limbo-esque.
Limbo-esque to
Okay.
a certain degree, a lot more dialogue and story. But I just want to mention it because I like what I've been playing.
Pinstripe.
Pinstripe. I like what I've played so far.
Okay. Look
All right.
it up, everybody.
All right, bye.
Bye. Can you believe when he was talking about Pinstripe?
Oh my God.
So boring.
Thank God
Putting
he
himself in
teleported
front
out
of
of
it.
here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right in the middle of the conversation. Jeez.
No, I'm not going to cut that. Actually, yeah.
Am I
Reiner, you got to clap out too. Right now, clap out. You got it. Here we go, boys. Leo Bader out of the booth.
Thank
JV
you.
Gwaltney on the table.
Hi.
Hello. JV, here's what I've noticed with you.
Okay.
Haircut, first of all.
Hi.
Very solid.
I noticed that too.
Have you noticed this, though, Leo? JV, over the last month, I've noticed it more and more. I don't know if you're doing it in the past, but you greet on the podcast or in video with this very sweet voice. Is that intentional?
No.
Here, pretend I'm JV. Leo, you introduce me.
Today we got JV Gwaltney.
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
No, I'm not.
It's
I'm
a
not
very
doing the
sweet-
Mr. Rogers thing.
It is
on
very
purpose.
Mr. Rogers. By the way, the Mr. Rogers documentary, have you seen that?
No, I want to though. Is it good?
It's very good. There's some awesome footage in that.
What do you think
thing.
about that Jim Carrey thing they're doing? That's kind of like that show that Showtime's
Yeah.
doing. That's like, oh, Mr. Rogers, but dark.
What's stranger about that? I haven't seen it, but I hear it's okay.
But here's something stranger.
But here's something stranger than that is in the Mr. Rogers documentary, they show old footage of In Living Color where Jim Carrey is doing sketches as Mr. Rogers. And now he's just basically playing
all
Mr.
connected.
Rogers. It's all connected. Just like The Return of Obra Dinn
Oh, man.
is connected to
That's a good
Lucas Pope.
segue.
I don't know. The creator of Papers, Please.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming.
Lucas Pope.
Yeah, here we go. Return of Obra Dinn. This game is one of the most visually striking games of the year. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Leo, how would you describe it?
The visual style?
Yeah, for the audio listeners, just paint a picture.
It's like a sepia, ultra low res, pixely, but fully 3D in first person.
It's like if there was a Kinect scan through the Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
Or the Game Boy camera, I mean.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it reminds me of like if you played like old Apple school computer games in school, because that's usually like, at least my generation, that's where you'd find those kind of old games.
Like Rocketry, the best game ever.
But you put it in 3D somehow. That's what Obra Dinn looks
Somehow.
Yeah, okay. What is the gameplay like?
like. Well, the setup, if you haven't heard of Obra Dinn, so the setup is, it takes place in the 19th century. A merchant ship has come into dock that's been abandoned. It's been...
It's the Obra Dinn.
Yeah, the Obra Dinn was lost at sea like 5 years before the game starts. So you're an insurance agent, a chief investigator, and your job is to find out what happened to each of the members of the crew, and there were 60 in all. So you get up on the ship and you have a magical device that looks like a clock, compass sort of thing, where you stand over a corpse and you are allowed to rewind back to like a freeze frame environment of that at the moment of that person's death that you can walk around and observe. So you're basically going from body to body trying to figure out what happened to these people.
So an adventure game, it feels a little bit like Detroit's kind of like detective scenes or Arkham Origins where you're trying to like investigate to that level?
It is a much more complex version of that because
Yeah.
it feels like there's always like those are always automated or automated to a degree, especially like The Witcher. You know, you'll always find the clues if you look around for highlighted stuff in the environment enough. Obra Dinn's different because it focuses on thinking abstractly. So you have to think about not just what's in the scene and what's in front of you, but like, hey, who's not here? For example, like a lot of the crew, their jobs are like, oh, there's first officer, but then there's like steward to the first officer. So as you go from like memory to memory, you'll notice like, oh, this guy is, with the first mate a lot. So he has to be like the steward. So you're not only like trying to figure out what happened to all these crew members, you're trying to figure out who they are in the first place because you have a sketch that you have to take every single name in the manifest and attach it to a face in the sketch. So
Gotcha.
it's not hard to figure out how these people died because it's often gruesomely presented to you as soon as you load up the memory. But the real trick is figuring out who they are and sometimes who killed them because that can be obscure.
Yeah. And you like this game. You have it at 875?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It's probably my favorite puzzle game in a while since Quad Cow, which we won't talk about here. But no, I think it's really, really good, and like people love it. People love how challenging it is. It's been getting great reviews across the board.
Oh, good. You're not insane.
Yeah, I'm not insane this time.
It is
I
very
think Leo likes it.
cerebral. You could be taking notes throughout.
Really? So like Fez level notes. It's just very tricky to piece together here.
Yeah, you have to be paying ultra close attention.
Yeah, it took me. Oh man, because let me give you the backstory on this game. So I loaded it up. I got assigned the review, and I loaded it up, and I was assuming, oh, it's Lucas Pope. It's going to be probably like, an engaging narrative adventure game that I probably won't traditionally enjoy that much, but I'll have feelings. It'll be a good time. Might cry a little bit. And then like 5 minutes in, it was like, oh, you have to figure out what happened to every single person on this boat. I was like, pardon me, sir? What? And then it just kept getting more complex from there. And that game just kicked my ass for 12 hours. Like I beat it all the way. But yeah, it took me 12 hours to finish that.
Like banging your head against the counter.
Yeah, because there's definitely some places where you'll get lost. But the thing about it is, the vast majority of the time, there's only one puzzle in that game that I think is straight up bullshit. The vast majority of the time when you're lost, it's not because like the game's fault. It's your fault because
Right.
you're not thinking abstractly. You're not putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
But like the entire thing, out of all the 60 puzzles, because each puzzle, like each person's fate is essentially a puzzle. There was only one though. I was like, well, that was just awful, and I didn't like it.
But the first time you're going through, you can't really solve a lot of this stuff unless you're a super genius. You're just going from memory to memory, seeing each death until eventually it goes, the book is full, you know every death, now just figure out who died and from what. And those little vignettes of the first time you see every death, those are like, there's some jaw-dropping stuff in there. There's some really surprising events that are taking place on the ship that are
Leo, as a man who
Scary.
hates story, this is interesting that you're into this game. What is it about this game that appeals to you?
I like cool stories.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
And I like games like this where you're kind of filling in the blanks of the story yourself. Like, I think that's something special games can do. And, I guess other media can do it too, where it's just you're learning about this world and in your mind the story's taking place. Of like, I know this happened because I know this thing before it and this thing after it happened.
Okay, it requires a lot of input on your end.
It's the only game I've ever played that is like, because so many games come out with the bill of like, oh, we're a detective game, like Ghost Trick, like The Witcher, like all of these games, but it's the only one that's ever made me feel like a detective, like I'm actually solving, what happened here on my own.
What about
and
her story?
Her story, I feel like there's still a bit of that that's guided. And I feel like this is much more complex than her story, too.
Okay.
Like, you just have to do so much.
And it's gamified in a fun way. Like,
Yeah.
you're picking the method of death from a huge list of, like, shot, stabbed, blown up.
It's the way I described it to Andy, which he was like, what? Was it's Inception meets Clue.
That's good. Hang on. I bet Andy, what did he call it? Did he have some funny name?
No?
Oh, that seems like a very Andy thing. Return to game over when? Where? He'd come up with some like wacky name of butchering the name. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very good. I had a lot of fun with it. I think if you're up for a challenge, you should play it.
All right.
I'm worried I might be too dumb for it. I feel
No,
like
no,
a
you're not
dead
too
end.
dumb for
No,
it. Because if I
Leo.
can beat it, you can beat it. Because there was
Okay.
like several points during that review, I was like, there's no way I'm going to finish this.
If I've made it through every vignette and I've gone back and checked in on them, but I haven't been able to glean any more clues, do you have any
keep
tips
looking.
for me?
Yeah, just keep looking. A lot of the time, look in the far margins, especially like when you're up aboard on deck for those memories, because there were like 3 occasions where it was like, oh, the answer is in the horizon for some reason. So you have to look everywhere, every nook and cranny.
Start listening to Mozart, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll help
Can
you
I
a
just
little
buy DLC that puts name tags on everybody, though?
Also, the soundtrack for this game's amazing.
Oh my
I just
God.
want to-
Really?
Yeah,
Easily best soundtrack this year so far.
yeah, it's
Really?
really good. Yeah, like
Hang on, write this down to listen.
I'm-
And it's integrated in the gameplay really well. Like, the tempo works with how you're moving in an interesting way.
yeah.
Interesting. I didn't expect that at all. I'm glad we got that out.
It's cool.
Cool. Real quick, too, JB. We talked about it a little bit. At least I rambled on about it a little bit a couple weeks ago. But Wandersong came out a couple weeks ago, but now you've reviewed it.
Yeah, I know you like it a lot.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely want to talk to you about it because I feel like I really like the story and I love
Yes.
the cast and
Yes.
the characters and all the jokes are great. I did not like the actual act of playing the game.
Yeah,
like
which
the
is
voice
interesting.
wheel. Like I don't like the voice wheel as being like the main mechanic for stuff. Like there's one moment where you're in a boss fight and you're not really having to do anything involving a voice, but that's still how you control like the main or this character's weapon.
It's just an adventure game where that's how you interact with the world is on the analog stick here, Leo. You're like choosing your notes. And it's just, you can be used for puzzles, can be used for action. They have constant variety for what you're doing with that.
Yeah, like I like the idea of that.
Right.
I really like that as a concept. I think, oh, that's a neat and engaging concept, but it never got off the paper for me, if that makes sense, where it's like, I like thinking about this, but the act of like actually messing around with this, especially on the Switch, because it felt like sometimes the response time was weird or like moving around the voice wheel, it could stick in one direction.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because you played on PC, right?
I played on PC and I had a couple technical mishaps as well. Like it just wouldn't launch. I know some other people are having that issue, or like there's a jump that seemed totally doable that I just couldn't quite get over for a while. Like little hiccups here and there technically, but otherwise I thought it was a very wonderful experience.
Yeah, I think my main issue with it is that I wanted to have more fun with that mechanic because
Totally.
Like the platforming, like I agree that the way that they disguise that you're just doing the voice wheel over and over again, like those ways are cool.
Yeah.
Like the
Every
platforming-
chapter has like a new twist on the gameplay essentially.
Yeah, I really liked the there's one near the end where like you have to learn magic spells.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that changes like the environment, so you have to like switch between these spells.
It's very Ocarina, actually.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah. I
was about
playing
to
a
say,
couple
yeah.
notes.
yeah, it's pretty Ocarina-esque. But
And actually, there's another world that's very Majora's Mask of like you gotta reset and the time will change.
Yeah,
And
that
there's
was
a
an-
crossbow training world as well.
Actually, now that I think about it, we're just talking about Zelda. I'm sorry. Yeah.
no, that Majora's Mask section was interesting, but there were so many times where I felt like, okay, this section is just an obstacle
Yeah.
that I have to get through to like see the, Little B and Miriam interacting, which was like always the best part of the game to me.
Yeah. Miriam's like one of my favorite characters of the year.
She's so funny.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think like there definitely were those sequences where it's like, okay, towards the end of each chapter is going to be some heavy platformers. Like you could have trimmed 40% of that and it would have been a better game overall. But I worry about this game being lost in the sea of great games this year just because I do think the writing and beats of that story are so well done. Like it reminds me, I don't think on this level, but it feels at times very Night in the Woods for the tone that it's hitting.
Yeah, it felt like a strange, sort of combination of Night in the Woods and Undertale in terms
Yes.
of like the humor that they go through, but also sort of like the presentation.
You could zoom out as well and just think about like, what is this game about? And it's just about the struggle to be optimistic in the world. And it's like this little singer trying to do his best to constantly sing and make everybody happy around him. And it's a rough world out there.
Yeah.
And
I don't see how that's relevant to society.
Yeah. I gave it a 7.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's a bad game at all. Like at all. I just wish I enjoyed the act of playing it more because ultimately
Totally.
I came away from it wishing, man, I wish I had watched that instead of played it. Like, it's like sort of like a cartoon series or something.
I do think they do some very smart story stuff with gameplay, especially like, the achievements is a good example. I won't spoil what they do with that, but like that whole section, there's enough twists in there where I feel like playing is important.
No, I can see that. It's just for me, it didn't like. I just wish I wish the platforming sections had been cut down or even like optimized to be a little bit more interesting or challenging. But it's a perfectly enjoyable story. I think it's worthwhile for anyone who loves humor, like humor in games that are it's done well because it's real hard. I feel like most developers who like try to make funny games fail miserably.
Yeah.
There are only a couple out there. Like Double Fine's good at it. And I feel like this
I'm sure there are others.
Yeah, there are others. Crickets. But yeah, I feel like, on that level, like this is a very funny game. It's a very sweet game. I just wish I had more fun with it.
It seems like the pirates that are obsessed with coffee are right up your alley.
Yeah, no, that was a good gag.
Yeah, and you're traveling on the world map, and they're all like singing sea shanties together. It's just packed full of personality. It reminded me a lot of like Paper Mario. It's like a Night in the Woods meets Paper Mario style adventure,
Yep.
on a globe-trotting scale here. But I'm glad you played it at least, Jake.
Yeah. I think if you don't mind repetition that can get a little irksome, and you love games with personality, you should totally give this a go.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, hey, do you guys want to clap on out of here again?
Don't you want to hear about MapleStory too?
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I meant to write that down.
Scoot all over again.
MapleStory 2. You played MapleStory back when you were a fetus in your mom's womb, and you loved that MMO that a lot of people love, but no one really talks about on staff ever.
Right.
Okay.
I never played the first one.
Oh, good God. All right, never mind. MapleStory 2, it's this cute little Korean MMO.
Isometric, like cube-based worlds. I started playing it basically as a joke with my friends the day it came out because it was free and we had nothing better to do. I
Yeah.
did not expect to fall in love with it the way that I have.
What's so appealing, Leo?
An easy pitch for it is it's like Destiny.
I'm out.
You've got
Shut up, you idiot.
It's like little baby cute Destiny, where everything you're doing feeds into your character's like level and gear, except the things you're doing range from Diablo style, ability-based dungeons and a story mode, but also you can fish and also you can play music with your friends on stage in like one of the player towns, and then when you finish your song, you'll like get a ton of experience and level up. My friend had made a series of MIDIs that are 3 different parts to Bob on Battlefield, and we just performed it in an ensemble on stage, and we leveled up from it.
And real players were watching you?
Yes,
Going nuts in the crowd.
it is ridiculously goofy and fun. There's tons of house customization. I build like a tree that has a bunch of platforms coming off of it. I can't stop playing it.
I heard from Giant Bomb that the UI is a cluttered mess.
It's an MMO UI,
Yeah.
but I find it pretty easy to get into
By the
personally.
way, this is why I love gaming, because people can say the sentence, it's an MMO UI, and understand exactly what you're talking about.
That's my license plate.
So MapleStory, you'd recommend it?
I would recommend it. It's free. You should join my guild, Minoin Gaming.
You want to spell it out?
Minoin Gaming.
If you join the guild, you will be forced to watch his MIDI performances, which are...
You have to come to our shows.
That's awesome. I'm very happy.
Very cute, relaxing, fun game to just level up in and lose a few
Are you
hours to.
planning on ever making any videos about it?
Maybe.
It'd be nice to show it off in some way. Game
Yeah,
Informer
that's a
here,
good idea.
and so it doesn't just completely fly under the radar.
Yeah, we should.
Cool. Also, real quick note on Wandersong, I just remembered one of the best things of the year is like the dancing in Wandersong.
Yeah.
Because you unlock more dances as you go. It's kind of like a secret little bonus thing. All of them are so funny, and it feels like they're going to the beat in the background, even if they aren't. And anytime you're walking, you can just dance while you walk. And he has this one, like the lasso dance that you
Yep.
get towards the end. He has this little gyration. It is the funniest thing I've seen all year. It'll always make me laugh. Every time I'm just walking through town doing this dumb lasso dance. It's so amazing. Okay, MapleStory 2, Leo. I love it. And with that, do you guys want to clap out?
Yep. All right. Bye.
Here we go. Dan Tack.
Hey, what's up?
Here we go. Sergio Vasquez.
Hello.
Only the finest. Dan Tack, blazerless.
Yeah, because I didn't know I was going to be on today.
Oh, I see. So you didn't even bring it?
I don't bring it unless I know I'm going to be on.
We have a coat rack with like 30 knobs on it. Why don't you just leave it here all the time?
What if I want to wear it somewhere else?
Where else would you wear it?
To the ball, obviously.
Actually, we went to a studio secretly for the next cover story, Dan.
That's
and
true.
you
We
wore
did.
that
Wow.
blazer.
Wow. Okay. Tell them everything about the cover, why don't you?
Yeah, I'm basically just holding up a version of the next Game Informer cover. That'll be a fun one, right, Dan?
I think everyone is going to be extremely surprised.
It'll
Our next
be
cover
a
story is Dan
celebration.
Tack.
Yep. Finally.
I'm actually on the cover. I finally got it.
Congratulations. It wasn't even much of an argument with Andy. I was all for it. All right, can you guys explain? All I know is something's going on with the Witcher 3 card game Gwent. Can you explain this in under half an hour? What is happening now?
Gwent was a mini game in The Witcher
Right.
3.
We got that
and
part.
They eventually made a standalone game out of it.
Got
and
that
it was
part.
in public beta for about a year, and they said, hey, we're going to add a single-player campaign to it. And eventually they kept delaying it, and so now it's finally out, and it's much larger than they initially said it would be. And now Gwent is out of beta, and it has a single-player expansion, so Gwent's out.
But hang on.
basically.
But the expansion or like the single player content is called Thronebreaker?
Yes.
So is that just the name of like the equivalent of like a Hearthstone expansion then? Or
More or less, yeah, I think so. And then the update to Gwent is called Homecoming.
so
which-
Gwent Homecoming contains the Thronebreaker storyline.
Well, Gwent is free to play, so it's like they're kind of separate things. You can go into Gwent and have that and basically play that like you would Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Or you can buy this expansion pack that is sort of like a story set in the Witcher world that uses Gwent mechanics.
Okay.
And everything else is the multiplayer free-to-play experience with draft and constructed ranked play and all that stuff.
Dan, as the Lord of the Cards, Gambit of
me.
Game Informer, do you like Gwent, just the base
Yeah, I do
game?
Mancherie, yeah. Yeah, so the base game, when I played it way back when, I think it's got to have been more than a year. It feels like more than a year. God, what I was playing then, I got into it for a little bit, for a few months. It was like, started getting competitive and very meted out, structured game in comparison to other card games where you're planning your moves. You're like, I'm going to play this turn 5, this turn 6, this turn 7. Every move is very well planned in advance. That's all out the window now. It still has that methodical gameplay of pass, turn, sort of like Artifact.
Yeah.
Where you're passing back and letting the opponent react, and then you finally decide you're done. You want to stop spending resources. There's no mana costs. You just put your cards down. One card is one card.
Uh-huh.
So you try to find ways to make advantages with that happen. What it looked like back then and what it looks like now, both visually and mechanically, are completely different things. It's like I'm learning a whole new game.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's hard to say after 2 days of play, but I'd
Yeah.
say so. Yeah, it's a little faster, a little less methodical, a little crazier. I don't exactly know what's going to happen every single game, which is great. A
Yeah.
little variance goes a long way, but I don't think it's completely plagued with the RNG effects that a lot of card gamers like despise. Like, oh god, I killed that mecha shredder and it turned into that thing, and then it turned into a thing, and the spiraling RNG of like, oh, there's no strategy. There's still a lot of strategy. You get to pick your character, your leader. That used to be, you get to use one effect a game for it. It's cool. Visually, it looks way cooler. Like the production values are way better than the beta. Beta was just like a big board,
Right.
like the Gwent board from the game, which
Yeah,
is
exactly.
fine. But now it feels like more lifelike. The cards, you have animated cards, and everything is sort of flowing a little bit better.
Cool.
But still a complex game that you can sink your teeth into.
So, okay, so the Thronebreaker thing is called Thronebreaker: The Witcher Tales.
Yeah.
It seems like they're really trying to leverage, hey, Witcher fans, seriously check this out. I mean, they say single player story mode in a card game. I mean, if you're a huge fan of Witcher 3 and you check this out, what would you think?
I think you'd be pretty impressed by it. I think that yes, like for those who listen to the Soul Calibur episode, I talked about like, hi, this is really ambitious for like a fighting game thing, and that how it contextualizes the fights in the story mode.
Okay.
I think this is a couple notches above that in terms of like there is a difficulty in the game that says just you can skip battles if you want. So
Oh, interesting.
so like the idea is that you play as one of the sort of lead commanders, Meave, I think is how you
Okay.
pronounce it, and she's in the books. I don't know if she was in the games, but she is sort of this commander of Lyria. And so you play as her, and so initially you're sort of in this isometric map, and you're sort of wandering around.
Really? Oh, wow.
And you're collecting resources, and so you'll find sort of like disputes among like, you know, peasants where it's like, hey, this person says they own this plot of land, and this person says they don't, and so the way
It's time to duel.
like it's in the context of the game, sort of the battles are basically your war force of like your deck is sort of your army.
So it's all just a metaphor?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not like Hearthstone where they're sort of like the card game is a card game.
Yeah.
But like the way those decisions factor into it is that you have gold and you have wood and you have recruits. And so you use all of those to sort of create new cards for your deck. And so you'll come across a decision that says, hey, if you do this particular thing, it'll give you more gold, but it could take away resources. And so there's morale that increases the actual sort of score of your army. Of like, hey, if you do this, if you pray at a shrine, you'll increase your, you know, morale, and your cards will be stronger in battle. I think that like that works pretty well in terms of pacing it. So it's not just like battle after battle after battle.
Right.
The other really cool thing about it is that they really bend the mechanics to the story. So I finished sort of the first act of the game so far, and there are just a lot of battles where they like one battle has like a thief in it, and he's kind of a major character, and so when you first meet him and then you fight him, he is on your side of the field, moving around constantly and dealing damage to your enemies. And the idea is like you want to get rid of this guy immediately.
Yeah.
And so then later on you fight like a giant like beast, and he's like 6 cards, like he's like an Exodia thing where it's like one monster split off across 6 cards, and so the idea is like you're lopping off its limbs to make it weaker.
It's cool. So it's creative throughout.
Yeah, and it's like so far it's been like pretty impressive in terms of like how it makes you think about like card synergy of like, you know, the right order without making it feel like I'm just sort of spinning my wheels.
Yeah, yeah. And it's all free?
No, Thronebreaker is, I want to say, either $20 or $30.
Oh, $29.99.
Yeah.
That seems high.
Standalone game.
Yeah.
Tons of content, right?
Yeah, I've finished the first act and I am about 10 hours into it. So
Are we reviewing it?
yes.
Oh, interesting. So review on the site sometime soon.
Yeah.
Sweet. Dantech, anything else you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, you know,
Uh-oh.
I got to dig into this more. I'm completely surprised. I mean, when I heard it came out, it's like, oh, it's out finally after,
Yeah.
God, it feels like more like 2 years than
CD
one.
Projekt Red's new game.
Yeah, it's got to have been 2. Yeah, because I was at I haven't been to E3 in 2 years, and they had it there the last year I went. So it's
Okay.
been a while, right?
Yeah.
And it's always curious to see a game go through so many changes. When I played it at the beginning, and now I'm here at release, and like none of the cards even have the same mechanics that they did with the artwork. So like, man, this does something completely different now.
Huh.
It's interesting to see what will take off. The card game scene is like just completely packed right now with
Yeah.
so many players. An Artifact coming out next month, which also
full
uses
deck.
like the pass
Yeah.
mechanic. Man, I'm baffled, and the cards are flinging, and I can't wait to see what happens here.
And one thing I did want to point out real quick is for people who just come into this as Witcher fans, I think they'll be pretty surprised by how like the writing's been really on point. Like
Wow, okay.
a lot of it is voiced, so it like I'm pretty into the story so far. So
Cool. That's awesome to hear. Serial, do you want to stick around for emails?
absolutely.
Dantech,
Bye.
no time for emails?
Goodbye.
Okay. We'll see you soon on the podcast.
You know it.
Okay. I say something very nice about you later on in the podcast.
You know I'm going to watch it the second it comes out.
All right. Let me know what you think. Bye, everybody. Time for emails. And welcome back to the Game Informer Show. We have some wonderful emails that people send to the podcast at GameInformer.com. We're going to read all these, folks. We're going to read each and every one, and then we're going to choose our absolute favorite. And to help me do that, Serial Vasquez.
Yes.
The Dream Team, Ben Reeves.
Here.
Kyle Hilliard.
Present.
Here we go. Podcast at GameInformer.com. Questions, comments, words of wisdom, dares, little mini games, micro games.
Photos?
Attachments.
Yep, anything that makes the show better, podcast at GameInformer.com. Hey, this isn't an email, but you guys know what's coming up November 3rd?
Extra Life?
Oh,
Extra Life,
my gosh.
everybody.
Extra
It's our
Life.
big charity marathon. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, we mentioned earlier in the show all the things that people could, donate to charity for, and then win through this auction system that's game related. But what about stuff that's Game Informer related, Kyle Hilliard?
What about it?
Like, what about, hang on, take up time on the
It's game related
guys-
stuff.
what do you guys-
25
What are you
guys
hours.
playing?
Yeah, I'm
People
using-
always ask for Game Informer covers, like where can we buy the poster and stuff. And so
There's one.
we have the Breath of the Wild poster, which
One
looks
of our
very
best.
sweet.
The best cover.
We'll sign it if you want. We'll
the best
draw
angle for it,
a
too.
mustache on Link, a Hitler
Draw a
mustache.
booger on him?
Yeah, whatever you want, we'll do it. But not only that, we go back in time a little bit.
Oh, what could it
What's
be?
coming up
I
next?
didn't know we had these, but also in the storage room, we also have our 200.
Oh, wow.
Game
Oh.
There we go.
For every game?
Yeah, so like
For the
Tetris and
six.
Mario and
GTA
GTA 3.
Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah, so a cool Final Fantasy 6 cover.
Those
You
are, that
can,
is cool. I like that.
Donate to
that.
charity, save some kids, and get a sweet old Game Informer cover. We'll ship it out to you. But that's not all. This is November 3rd. This is
What?
gonna be
That's
huge.
not all.
We will
Surely
give
that's
you November
everything.
3rd for free.
People
Hanson, are you crazy?
I am crazy. People are always asking for Game Informer merch. You know?
Okay.
They're like, where are the T-shirts? Where's everything? I think including Andy McNamara, but that's beside the point. But the smartest person within Game Informer's halls, everybody knows, is
Oh, Margaret Andrews.
correct. How did you know where I was
Were you-
going with
were
that?
you
Everybody
pointing at
knows
cereal?
that.
No, yeah, it's Margaret in production, and she has made.
Should I not say her last name? Should we bleep that out?
It's fine.
She's gonna get stalked
It's on
now.
the site. She made these things by hand. Spent dozens and dozens of hours. We're gonna
my-
auction
really?
these off.
What?
Game Informer winter hats.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow.
Aren't these
Look
awesome?
at that. That's awesome.
Can I just buy one from you right now?
I really want to. Here you go.
Honestly,
Sir.
That's like a full-on patch here. This
yeah.
is nice.
Here, let's
wear
just
these?
show them off.
Hanson,
throughout the
this is
show
too
here.
much.
You got a model of the.
As long as you guys don't sweat too much.
We've got to stop.
Yeah, we'll be auctioning these off.
Complete with Kyle's sweat.
This cereal. Don't stretch it out, dude. This is very important. But yeah, November 3rd, you can donate to charity,
Look at
win these
this.
awesome things.
Wow.
It'll be very fun. Cool.
She did all of this.
Yes, isn't it incredible? Okay, here we go. Podcastinginformer.com.
Reeves
That's
is
enough extra.
speechless.
Just
words.
my mind is blown by how much she accomplishes in a day.
All right, Brady Easter writes in from Edmond, Oklahoma, where the wind goes sweeping
Blows?
down the
Okay.
plains.
Oh, what a beautiful morning.
Only 16 going on 17.
By what day
Every
and time?
musical. How
do
does a
people-
bastard
Okay,
orphan?
need to write in. By what day and time do people need to write in if they want to be considered for the podcast? It gets uploaded Thursdays, sure, but I don't know when I'm supposed to write in. That's a great point. So many people are confused about this. We don't throw any emails away. Technically, I start collecting emails Tuesday, do a little mop-up Wednesday morning. We record the shows on Wednesday, and then post them all on Thursday. So in theory, if you want to be timely, but again, I don't throw anything away, Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday morning. But thank you so much for...
It's like the highest percentage chance of.
right.
Your house is a huge mess because you don't throw anything away.
That's exactly
You don't
right.
have
really
to
gotta
print all
clean
these
up,
out,
man.
man.
Reeves, you'll love this. Jesus wrote in from National City, California.
what's up, dude?
Actually, I think that's God's country, and that's
Yeah,
not even a
I
joke.
think
like,
so.
I
No,
I
it
think
is.
it actually has one.
Yeah.
I think it's one. It's
Yeah,
on the
Jesus
board.
owns it.
No, Reeves, I'm
He's
saying
in
literally.
there right now.
Reeves,
So
I'm
yeah,
saying
it's his
for real.
country.
For real, Reeves, I'm serious. They say, hello, Ben and the team. After listening to the Ever Game is Interesting segment, I drove my car on your last podcast, I was expecting to hear more about the gameplay itself than who made the games. As a suggestion, imagine if you were my friend who was trying to convince me to play this particular game if you found it interesting yourself. I feel this might help you guys focus more on what to talk about and might convince a listener out there to try a new game that they've never played before. What do you think? Yeah, I saw a couple YouTube comments too. They're like, talk about the gameplay. Like, I think it's telling that we think the most interesting things about these games that were randomly chosen is the development instead of the gameplay. And it's just where we all landed, I guess, for this batch.
Yeah, maybe. I think there is some room for like, oh, well, what kind of game is this? Like, that might be helpful to know when you're describing the game.
Right.
But at the same time, all that is out there right now, right? Like, everybody knows, and I shouldn't say
Right.
that, but like, if you read a review for Serious Sam 2, like, it's going to describe what the game's about.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think we were trying to like find something that's like off the beaten path a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't
Like
the
the
normal
PC
thing. that
specs?
yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
The
yeah.
challenge I feel was less about whether or not people should play it, and more about can the editors find something interesting to say about this
But
game they've probably.
I think the
haven't played.
community feedback is right. Maybe we should focus a little bit on gameplay.
That's what they want.
I think
Yeah.
a little bit more, yeah.
Also, I think 3 minutes is good for a timer in the future if we do it again, which I'd like to do it at some point because people really seem to like it in the comments, which is nice. And then on top of that, I think we should have the judge be able to ask questions after the 3 minutes.
I like that.
For like quick follow-ups
Yeah,
as well.
that's cool.
Also, I like having a celebrity guest judge every time. celebrity on the caliber of Tim Turi. I don't know if we can get who's that guy, George Takei, back on the show to judge it or anything. Also,
Who's that guy?
Yeah, who's that guy? Nate in Brandon, Missouri says, "Please do Every Game is Interesting again. I loved it. I would have done research about the community game, but I have 4 kids." Yeah, all right, that's totally fair.
Fair enough. Make them do it.
Yeah, right. Nolan Filter incident says, "Hey, Game Informer Show. I'm an indie developer in New York, but I grew up in St. Paul. So it's a little touch of home every week. Thank you. St. Paul's pretty okay." In this week's episode, you tried and failed.
Crapping on St. Paul.
No, I love St. Paul. It's very, you feel sophisticated when you're in St. Paul.
Oh,
It's
sure.
classy, you know? So in this week's episode, you tried and failed to find something interesting about Sonic 3D Blast. As a replacement, I'd like to point you to this YouTube series from last year in which the original developer, John Burton, documents his process to make a director's cut mod of the game. He makes Sonic 3D Blast interesting. This is a great suggestion. So this is John Burton, who's the founder of Traveler's Tales, the studio that makes all the Lego games. And he has this YouTube channel called Game Hut, where he's just showing like crazy old prototypes from working on the Genesis. He's trying to convert PUBG into a 16-bit game, and he's like uploading all these videos about it. He's showing prototypes of like the Crash games that Traveler's Tales worked on and stuff. It's weird for like somebody that high up in the video game industry. Like he was a producer on the Lego movie, for Christ's sake.
Oh,
like,
really?
For somebody that high up, just to get so raw and strange just on this personal YouTube channel.
I wonder if he talks about Haven at all. Do you guys remember that game?
Yeah, with the guy on the cover.
Yeah, well, the thing about that game is you could get in a ship from the ground and fly out of the atmosphere into space.
Oh, I
which
bet
was,
he
like,
has.
awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I really want him to come on the podcast, but I can't get a hold of him. Anyways, so if anybody out there knows John Burton's
John,
direct
call
email,
us.
please. John from Branson, Missouri says, "Hey, Game Informer villains. Every Game is Interesting is a good segment, and I like the idea another listener suggested where y'all go through an old Game Informer issue. Thanks. Also, I'm tired of good games hogging the game club spotlight. Here's a crazy idea for the next game club. Duke Nukem Forever."
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
that'd be interesting, yeah.
I
every
kinda
game is
like that
interesting.
idea,
I like that
honestly.
idea,
Yeah.
too.
Did he listen to the Mass Effect Andromeda?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah,
That's true.
All
We
right,
did
Deus
Deus Ex.
Ex.
Come on.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. Now that we're not really doing Red Dead, we're just making a Game Club Light type of thing.
Yeah.
We're wide open. I'd love to go back in time a little bit, but
I
don't really
played and
know.
beat Duke Nukem Forever.
Really?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
had
Why?
long
I did
load
it.
times, and I played Ocarina of Time on the 3DS while it was loading.
I did
It
it.
was a freelance review.
I did it
You
in
played
one
it as well,
sitting.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beat it.
Yeah, very
You can
cool.
do it in one
I
setting
don't know
too,
why.
which is kind of nice. Did anybody write in and say like, "Hey, Tim Turi was wrong. He should have picked Serious Sam 2"?
No, a lot of people wrote in and said Tim Turi was exactly right. That Jack X was the most interesting. But a lot of people said like luck of the draw, the fix is in, Hanson got the most
Right.
interesting game out of the gate. So I want to do it again just to prove my worth. I want to get a crappy game.
Well,
This is matters.
So this is what I'm saying is like your game was the most interesting. It was the most interesting. But like, were
Yeah.
we judging what's the most interesting game or who did the best job of finding?
I think it should be
things?
more the latter, and I think I just did a better job for both.
I think it was just you had an easier job.
That's probably
He
true.
had like music and interview clips prepared.
I know. I gave everybody else that option. Nobody
Yeah,
took it.
no,
Anyways,
you did.
Robbie from Brick, New Jersey.
You gave us that option 5 minutes before. Anyway,
All right,
go on.
Robbie from Brick, New Jersey. How dare you reveal behind the scenes secrets? Robbie from Brick, New Jersey says, "This just in. The MPD for September has arrived, and the only thing I want to talk about is GTA 5. Where is it? When's the last time it slipped off the top 10?
Ooh.
Are people cooling on GTA as Red Dead nears? Was August the last month GTA 5 will ever be in the NPD top 10? So if you're not familiar, NPD is like a game industry sales. It doesn't include digital for some publishers. It's kind of a mess, but
A lot
it's
of
a good readout.
asterisks, but it's always a nice like sort of temperature of like, oh, what's
Yeah.
sold a lot.
Right,
this
and
month?
GTA 5 has been in that list since it came out. I don't think it's ever dropped off, but apparently it's out now. It's
really?
off the list now,
Yeah,
which is
when did it
interesting.
drop?
I'm sure it'll be back. But I'm also sure Red Dead will be there for the next 3 years.
Right.
Yeah, I
Well,
bet. Oh, go ahead.
They've been making so much money off of that game that I guess they've been sort of working on the online component of it for a while.
Yeah.
But how much freedom did that give them to just keep working on Red Dead?
Yeah, probably a lot.
Like, would
Although-
Red Dead have come out sooner if that game had dropped off sooner?
Okay, let's say hypothetically, GTA 5 bombed. Everyone's like, "We're tired of GTA. We get it. We stole the car."
Forget about it.
Like, when would Red Dead 2 have come out? I still think Rockstar has so much freedom in theory within Take-Two. I bet they could have taken 8 years again.
but would they have that money? I mean, some of
I
it's
bet.
like the money.
I bet they still have so much money in their coffers from GTA 4 alone. Like, I would imagine. Look,
The Max
this is
Payne
hypothetical,
$3.
so I'm going to
Yeah.
be very definitive about it. Christopher Vistril, hello, says, "Hello, Ben and Entourage, long-time listener, first-time caller. Hello. I have a question, hopefully for anyone on the crew who has not gotten hands-on time with Red Dead 2. Which game's open world excites you more, Red Dead 2 or Cyberpunk 2077?
You want to go across the table? Or?
Oh, it's Red Dead by a mile for me.
It's Red Dead
Oh,
for me.
really?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, interesting. I was going to say Cyberpunk.
Oh, what's that?
I was gonna say Cyberpunk.
Ooh.
Well, just it's a weird comparison because like Cyberpunk's so far away, and I feel like we know a fair amount about Red Dead at this point. But I don't know, like that. I'm more interested in that game in general, so maybe that's part of it. Like,
Yeah.
I like Red Dead, but my enthusiasm isn't through the roof, and I'm like really excited for Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I would be. Like, I feel like obviously, I haven't played, so I don't know what the world is like. But it feels like at this point, I'm a little burnt out on the idea of like, hey, here's this map. Fill out, like, go to the objectives and fill them out. I don't know if that's the structure that Red Dead follows, but
Yeah.
Cyberpunk, from what I've seen, it feels like it is more dense in that you're sort of chasing like individual stories in a less sort of like with less emphasis on the map, maybe from what we've seen. And like the twist-driven stuff seems pretty cool so far. So yeah, I also like sort of the aesthetic of Cyberpunk a little bit more than
Right,
just
right.
the straight
The
Western stuff.
hardcore nudity.
Yeah.
P.S. Chris says Ben Reeves versus Leo Vader for title of GI Funny Guy.
What?
Do we compete right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna. If we can
sorry,
be
let's
right
get outta
now.
here.
All right, funny.
Are you gonna edit this later so I'm funnier?
Oh nope, funny off. Let's go.
All right.
Okay, Ben Reeves, take it away.
One time, I shit my pants.
Oh, that's pretty good.
All right, Leo.
How does a tree get on the internet?
How?
It logs on.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh my gosh, Reeves is the funnier.
I would vote for Leo.
I would vote for Leo.
I would vote for Reeves.
We don't
Okay,
vote for Leo.
Mike Hennessy from Miami, Florida says, "Ahoy, Ben and GI mateys! Oh, Lord.
Ahoy.
I've been wanting to get a PSVR for a while. And your cover discussion on Dreams has me even more piqued. My only concern is buying PSVR so long into the first-gen life cycle. What do you think the odds of an updated PSVR come out this console generation, or does Sony just release a newer, shinier version for PS5? That's an interesting question. I think, honestly, if you're interested in it, super interested in it, and you can't try it anywhere else, and you want to buy one, at this point, okay.
Yeah.
Especially with Dreams on the horizon. Like, the VR content for Dreams, I feel like, could be... is it an under-commented on thing in the industry. That could be just bonkers bananas content constantly flowing for you.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see like a drastically updated PSVR in this generation. I think we might see like a small update. I think maybe there might have already been one even. That was just like
There was,
yeah. And then it's
Called
probably
Vive.
there'll probably be like for PlayStation 5. I think there will be a new PlayStation VR headset for PlayStation 5, but I think it's a ways away. I think that you could get a PSVR now, get ready for Dreams, pick up Astro Bot, and you'll be in good shape. Beat Saber's coming out soon, and then Thumper. There's good stuff to play on PSVR.
Yeah. I feel like the PSVR has so far felt like the sort of more approachable solution in terms of like, hey, you can just buy this and it works with the PS4. Setup's a little complicated, but like it just works out of the box because there's that sort of seal of approval that Sony gets to have over the whole process. Whereas with Vive, it feels like we're constantly iterating on this process because we can, and I feel like Sony is more aware of like people just want the one thing that fixes the problem of not having a VR, basically.
Yeah.
Honestly, if we like jumped into the future like 10 years and there was no PSVR 2, I would not be totally surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be the least of my concerns as I was traveling.
Or they just make that hardware compatible with PS5, but not do a redo in any way.
Yeah. Well, I think they need to update the hardware a little bit, but
Yeah.
do you guys want to travel into the future real quick?
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
see.
Here we go. You want to just clap there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Reese, I've been meaning to ask you, what's the PSVR like these days?
Well, everybody's talking about the PSPB now. So
What is that?
Yeah, it's
Is it peanut butter?
the peanut butter version of the PSVR.
It's like a taste console.
That's right. Yeah. you
There's a lot of
taste-
context you guys are missing
here.
from
Yeah.
like what's happened between then
I mean,
and
the
now.
future's weird, y'all.
I'm going to go look out the window real quick to see what the future's like. Just don't mind me.
There's a lot of lizards out there.
How's the... Oh gosh. Okay.
Reeves, you've
Well, that
had
answers my
10 years to
question.
look out the window. I don't know why you're surprised about this
It's
now.
just a Duvetine curtain! No! All right, you guys want to clap back to the...
Yeah, let's get
Right.
out of here. This is,
Okay.
I think that was fun. Mike Hennessy says, P.S. bonus question.
Will it make the cut?
What year will GI Show Podcast do its first VR game club?
in 10 years, it turns out. You guys want to go? Let's check it out.
Yeah, actually, okay, ready? Here we go. Just let's get to the tail end of
Oh,
the
yeah,
game
yeah,
club.
yeah.
All right, ready? All right, thank you for
I'm
reading the
blind. There's too much virtual reality.
podcast at GameFormer.com. We appreciate all these emails for Astrobot 4. It's been a hell of a game
4?
club.
Yeah.
I can't believe they all sold so well, but Thank you so much. A lot of tears flowing through the headset.
That's right.
Yeah.
I feel like we really did it. Suriel, who is the president?
We can't talk about that. Right
Oh man, sorry about your divorce
They've
again.
started,
Yeah.
they've started embargoing the presidents.
I'm sorry you got a divorce from the president of the United States
Yeah.
just in the
Just
nick of
a
time.
heavy
Good luck
topic.
next time. Hey,
Yeah.
flowers,
You know.
man, flowers.
We broke up because of
2018.
VR.
Here we go. Back to time. All right, there we go.
Serial played Astrobot 1, by the way.
Did you really?
What?
One?
Yeah.
The first
There's
one.
Astrobot
3
2.
more coming over the next 10 years.
Dude,
apparently.
What did you think of Astrobot?
I liked it. I played like the first 2 levels, and then I said I can probably just take this home. I
I'll
don't
wait for the
I don't want to
sequel.
keep. I don't want to continue playing now because I want to take it over like a break or something.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Take it home. And
Oh, okay, yeah,
How's that
absolutely.
soundtrack, though, right?
It's
Yeah,
so
it's-
good.
what'd you say
It's
your name
so
was?
frustrating that a lot of like platformer fans in the office where a PSVR is sitting there, that people aren't playing it. Like it
We're
kills
busy.
me that no, they aren't. It kills me that like Reiner and Shay have not played this.
Yeah,
Like,
Elise needs to play it too.
Yeah.
'cause she's a player. I told Shay that he needs to play it, so we'll get them there. Serial, we broke down Serial, and he had fun. I
Yeah,
thought.
you broke
2
me
levels.
down. You locked me in a room for 5 hours and said you don't get to leave until you play Astrobot.
right,
and then
right.
I had fun.
And you were
Yeah.
thankful.
yeah.
Also, do you want the president's telephone number? Maybe something will come of it.
I don't think it'll work.
Ethan Stefanos from New Carlisle, Ohio, oh boy, says, "Hey guys, just wondering if any of you watched the first look at the new Intellivision console. I believe it's called the Amico. I was watching live and it was awful. A good mixture of Seinfeld, what's the deal with these new consoles and their confusing buttons, and Michael Scott's trademark tone-deaf presentation style. Anyways, right when they were about to show off their 4-minute trailer, they made the camera person pan over to the audience instead. They won't show the trailer until Monday. What's the point of filming any of this? Yeah, I'm sure it's complicated. Did you guys watch the reveal trailer for the Intellivision Amico?
No, I
new
saw the
Intellivision
images.
console?
What's the deal with that thing?
It's so strange. So like the controllers, they kind of look like VMUs with like a touch screen. It's a bizarre looking interface, and all games for the console, I think this is an interesting twist. All the games are rated E, and they're like focusing on family multiplayer. And you can also sync up your phone to be a controller for the new Intellivision.
Okay.
And
That's
so
not bad.
also all games of the Intellivision are going to be Intellivision exclusive, including remade games from Intellivision's past and a bunch of Atari classics like Moon Patrol and Burger Time and Spelunker, like technically kind of the origin of Spelunky. All those are going to be remade exclusively for the Intellivision.
Will they look better?
I assume so. And
Okay.
Tommy Tallarico, the game composer, he's running this show over there.
Yeah.
He's part of the team. It is
Like
a
bought the
bizarre
rights in
announcement.
the last year or something. Like
Right.
That.
How much cachet does Intellivision have, really?
I
People
have
care?
technically heard the name before.
I think
Yeah.
Atari has more like
yeah.
play than
Well, they're in Blade
Intellivision.
Runner, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
But I'm just saying, like, not that many people care about Atari.
Yeah, they're way
And,
overestimating
like, I think
the
they're below
nostalgia
that.
value
Yeah.
beyond anything. Just like, oh, I've heard that thing before. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know. And the family center focus feels like so weird because kids have way more to play than an Intellivision for like a console they have no attachment to.
Yeah.
Like, I
Also,
don't know,
they
that
got to
seems
compete with Fortnite because that's what kids are playing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of like a family-focused console. But
Sure.
Yeah. Also,
don't-
they have like some talent from Nintendo, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Like somebody in the marketing team, and then like a Japanese developer as well that was at Nintendo for
Is
like
it
the launch.
Miyamoto?
That's the name I was trying to
Oh.
think of. Yeah. I guess he's helping out.
Wow.
with this. No, but I think it's kind of cool. Like even with the name Amico, it sounds so amiibo. It's
Yeah.
literally one letter off. Okay, Mason Parker writes in and says, I have a simple question. If you could change your childhood history to get yourself into something that you just weren't into at the time, what would it be? For me, it would be Transformers. Never got into the cartoon or anything, but I like the concept. What would you guys have liked to get into?
I have a maybe a weird one. Like when I first had my Super Nintendo, I didn't understand like what was interesting about turn-based RPGs.
Yeah.
Like I would play them at a friend's house or something. I'd be like, I'm just like going. I'm like walking around. I can't explore anywhere. Menus are just popping up. I don't understand why this is interesting, and I just like wrote them off. And it took me years to actually get into one and be like, oh, there's like a lot of story here, and this is interesting. Where like I was just like I was like grabbing for any semblance of story I could get from like Mega Man X. Like I just wanted more
so
story.
sad.
And I was like, where there was like this whole other genre that was like totally focused on story that I just completely ignored until much later. I was like, and in a weird way, I wish I had played like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy
Right,
VI like
right.
when I was younger.
You're not
So-
that into RPGs, though, right?
I'm still not, but like there
Do you
are.
think that's because of that foundation? Like, I didn't play them early enough that.
yeah.
Too dumb when you were young?
It could.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, yeah, it could
Yeah.
be. Like, I've certainly found some that I've gotten into and finished and enjoyed, and like there are some that I like. But yeah, it's definitely low on my list of favorite genres. You know.
Interesting.
I wish I'd gotten into salads more. Been healthier.
Yeah, no kidding.
Pretty good
It's kind of a similar smart thing where I wish I played like early civs earlier, just so I could maybe get into turn-based games, because turn-based strategy games just kill me. Any sort of complicated game whatsoever kills
That
me.
sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I thought
yeah,
you
exactly.
love turn-based strategy games.
I love real-time. Turn-based, I would wipe my butt with.
Gotcha.
Well, didn't
Except
you
for
like
XCOM.
XCOM?
XCOM's the one exception. I love XCOM.
Hanson, if you wipe your butt with it, it'll kill you though.
Wait a minute, you're right.
Oh,
Get out of
I wish
here.
I does it have to be gaming related?
No.
He said salads.
I just said drawing. Like I would have
Oh,
loved to
interesting.
spend more time learning how to actually draw when I was.
Are you a
kid.
decent drawer now?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not.
All right.
I could
Leo,
barely
if you
read
have
my
a
own
pad and
handwriting.
paper, you could bring it up to Serial. He could draw a sketch for the rest of the show, and then we could auction off during Extra Life.
Yeah. Oh, we should go back in time
God.
and
No, we
show
should-
ourselves.
Kyle.
I take back my answer. No.
Tim Conlon from Cedar Falls, Iowa, and Overblood calling in saying, I've always had trouble sleeping. Oh, there we go. And have tried many things throughout the years, but over the past year or so, I've had a lot of luck with the Zelda music for helping me sleep, particularly the Astral Observatory music from Majora's Mask and Zoro's Domain music from Ocarina of Time. Just does the trick for me. That being said, other than general excitement and enjoyment, is there any video game music you listen to for other reasons? Maybe to pump you up, help you focus? P.S. I'm taking a 4-day weekend for Red Dead, and I'm looking forward to Extra Life. Thank you.
It's a good plan.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything I listen to regularly. I think it's the Assassin's Creed 2 soundtrack on my iPad, on my iPhone, and it's just like mixed in with my music. And sometimes I'll listen to that on road trips, and occasionally like that's like the only video game music on there. And so occasionally that'll pop up like when I'm driving in the middle of the night and be like, this is pretty good.
I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I listen to the Clouds theme from Nidhogg pretty much on
Oh,
loop.
that's right. You had
Whenever
mentioned
I
that.
try to write something, it helps me relax, and there are no words, so I don't get distracted.
Yeah, I listen to the SimCity 2013 soundtrack when doing most things in my life, like making breakfast, making love. SimCity 2013 soundtrack. It will focus the brain. It's like whatever a drug is.
Whatever a drug is. I got a lot of Mega Man X music. I've got a lot of. I like the Super Meat Boy soundtrack is always a mainstay for me. The original soundtrack, not the updated soundtrack.
Right.
The Scott Pilgrim versus the World game soundtrack.
that's a good soundtrack.
That is
Is
good.
way better than the actual game. I would argue.
Really?
Interesting.
I like
yeah.
that game.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't like beat 'em ups that much.
Next
But,
email is an odd one, if you guys are ready for this. Greg Miller wrote in from Kinda Funny,
Oh.
saying, "Hey, Game Informer, I'm Greg, and I'm putting on Kinda Funny Games Showcase in December. A Kinda Funny best friend pointed me towards your October 11th podcast because another Kinda Funny best friend wrote in to ask you about your thoughts on the showcase. I thought I'd email you to answer some of your questions and comments.
Okay.
Before that, though, thank you so much for even mentioning Kinda Funny and the showcase. I remember the old days when publications and sites acted like the others didn't exist. I'm so happy that our side of the industry is one of collaboration and not competition these days. Please let me know when any of you are in San Francisco." That's very sweet. Thank you. Reiner, you are correct. The showcase is too much work and my nipples are too small. However, I love the 4-day video game extravaganza that was the Game Awards into PSX. I always felt that the Game Awards got to bring the thunder of AAA games, and PSX got to give smaller devs and titles a chance to shine. Kinda Funny didn't want to see this go away this year, so we stepped up to do the showcase. The idea is that the Game Awards is still the Super Bowl. That's the grand stage that all of them go to in December. I just wanted to use our platform to give the rest of the industry a place to show their titles. So far, the response has been overwhelming, with 75 devs reaching out from all across the spectrum there. However, there's no need to come here or worry about sending people, because I guess it's all going to be streamed.
Oh,
So that's
all
December
right.
8th. That's a
Perfect.
nice plug there from Greg Miller.
Yeah,
There's my
Does
email.
the amount of work have to do with his nipples? Is that sort of
directly
I
correlated.
think so.
They shrunk because
So
he
his
worked
nipples
too
are
hard.
actively impeding his ability to work.
Yeah, and actually,
larger they are,
Serial,
the more relaxed
this
he is.
sketch of his nipples are really out of this world
Oh
that
my
you have
gosh,
going on
dude.
No,
there.
it's just
at that.
it was just serendipity.
Wow.
Just thinking about Greg.
Landon from Fairfax, Virginia says, simple question for you guys. Since we're close to Halloween weekend, I thought I'd ask which alternate costume is your favorite in gaming? I always loved Reptile's classic black and green ninja outfit from Mortal Kombat. Classic.
That's pretty good. I like whenever you have the opportunity to wear the like cartoon version of somebody. Like you could do
Spider-Man?
this recently in Spider-Man, or
Yeah.
like the Arkham games let you do that as well.
Yeah, that
was
is
cool.
fun. You're totally right. I was thinking of just funky ones, ones I really appreciate. In Smash, it's hardly even an alternate costume because it's not like you unlock it. But I love the polygonal Little Mac. I love they included such a funky weirdo.
The
version.
wireframe one?
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, polygonal versions or like old versions of characters is also really good.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, like I like Mario in Odyssey. You could play as a 64 avatar, and
Yeah.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider. You could play as like
Yeah.
the original.
That was
I love
super
that
weird,
kind of
but
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
You bet. Ben from Wisconsin. What? There's another one? Says, my friends and I play a lot of Smash Brothers, and it's definitely one of our favorite games of all time. However, there's one thing that just completely drives me up a wall. Ryu's moveset. I get the Street Fighter vibe they're going for, but the whole point of Smash is a single, simple control scheme that transfers between every character. If I wanted to memorize different button combinations for different characters, I'd play another fighting game. I feel so strongly about this. I go on a rant about it every time we play, but none of my friends seem to understand. My question to you is, what's one gaming opinion that you have that your friends just want you to shut up about?
Sure. Can we tell him why he's wrong about his
Yeah,
opinion?
but they simplified it. Like, you can do the complex.
You get
not
extra-
even complex.
You get a
You do
bonus out
extra
of it. You don't
damage.
have to do that.
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, come on, dude.
Come on, Ben from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Ben.
Yeah.
Shut
Next
up.
question.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. My friends should write in because I'm trying to think of what I always complain about. Probably that every game's too hard. Every game's easy mode is too hard. I'm definitely in that babified camp.
That Prince of Persia 2008 is fantastic.
Oh, okay.
Which, speaking of Greg Miller,
Yeah.
is one of the people who dislikes that game, and he's super wrong about it.
Oh,
So
interesting.
Take that, Greg Miller.
That's
and your
why
nipples.
You will not be watching the showcase.
Yeah, that's right. Because of your Prince of Persia 2008 opinion from, was it 10 years ago now?
Yeah, look alive, man.
Picross is good. That's an opinion we won't
As the
talk
world
about.
has.
I mean, I don't think anybody's like making
Not
fun
according
of
to
us.
our top 300. It
I
should
think
be,
90% of people are agnostic. I don't
Right.
think there's anyone who's like, you know what, screw Picross. These people are insane. I think most people are like, all
Yeah,
right,
I
I've
guess
never
that's
played
It's
it.
just the fact that Andy can make fun of you for just about anything.
Yeah.
That's what I
Right,
feel.
right.
That's a good point.
What I was going to say, what was the question? People,
Your
things
friends
that-
want you to shut up about this thing.
Assassin's Creed, this is a recent one. Assassin's Creed Origins is too big. Like, I feel like I keep making that complaint.
Odyssey specifically?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I meant Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
mean,
it's
it probably-
just,
it
there's
probably
too much
applies to both.
gameplay in it. And, like, games where they're, like, too big and there's, like, too much going on
Yeah.
is kind of a
But you have to get through
annoying
so many
me.
games a year. I imagine that's the difference between you and your friends.
I get that, but just, like, the padding through, like, the normal part of the game. Reiner was making fun of me for that today, even. So
What did he say?
He said, "Boo-hoo, little baby.
He said,
Did
your
you poop your
boss-
pants?
He said that to
And
you.
you
Time
said
to
yes.
change your diaper."
I think that was like a
Yeah.
legitimate question, though. I don't think he was making fun of you for a
He went,
Oh, that wasn't
Ben, did you
related.
poop
You're
your
right. That
pants?
wasn't related to the Assassin's Creed conversation.
Comedy. Brian.
I tend to think Naughty Dog games are kind of boring most of the time. That's
Hang on. What did you just say?
Wait, did you say Naughty Dog or?
Naughty Dog. Not La-di-da.
Not
I
eat
said-
dog?
Yes, that's what I said.
Like you're talking about the developer?
Yeah.
The developer Naughty Dog.
He's talking about.
Hold on, are you
No, I
confused
just
about
don't like
what
Naughty
games they
Dogs
make?
in general. I think they're super boring.
You'd rather
before
have
you
nice
tame them.
dogs.
Sure.
Pleasant dogs, please.
List
yeah.
off 2 of their games.
I dare you.
I dare you. Can you even do
Wait,
it?
We're talking about Naughty Dog games.
Okay, are you talking about the developer? Or am I making up fake games? based
Soriel,
on-
are you sure you're not confused?
Dude, I think you're
I
confused.
thought The Last of Us was a great story told in a like mediocre video game.
Okay, sure.
Like
That's
the,
one.
The part where you play Naughty Dog games, I think, is the worst part.
Sure.
That's
That
my
is
take
fair.
on it.
Hang on.
Okay.
Name another game, though.
Another Super Mario Brothers?
Yeah, he's legit.
Miyamoto's finest work. Brian Brown from St. Louis, Missouri. Missouri says, "Hey, Ben and crew, on the Dreams episode, y'all mentioned that when you download a game in Dreams from the network, the game just records the inputs of level creation and rebuilds the level from scratch. That's true. Learn about it even more so in an upcoming episode, a special edition episode of the Game Informer show where we Skype in Mini Molecule. Anyways, there's already at least one other game on the market that uses this coding technique to save space as well. I'm talking, of course, about Super Mario Brothers. No. Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U. Whenever you save a replay of a match, what is actually being saved is your input data and the RNG data from this particular match, and then it just plays that all back.
Yeah. I
that
don't.
fun? Oh, that's
that's
cool.
actually not that uncommon. That's how Halo 3 does it. And I believe
really?
that's how Call of Duty does it.
I think
as
that's
well.
how a lot
If
of fighting
anybody
games do it.
smart knows about this, please write in, because I love that idea.
Because I remember Halo 3 because that was like early in that sort of replay system. And
Yeah.
that was like kind of the mind blowing thing I remember them talking about is that they weren't actually saving video of your matches. They were just saving the data of and that's why like even sometimes physics might not act exactly the same.
Right.
Like and
interesting.
replaying something back, So,
Yeah.
But it's a cool system. And
I wonder
it's really neat.
how Blackout works, because it's so crazy that it saves all of those games. You can scrub through them from any perspective. Like the amount of options in that theater mode, if you've never checked it out, is just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Christian
very cool.
writes in from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, says, "Hello, everyone. Yesterday I was searching for a USB cord in my house when I happened to find my sealed copy of Detroit Become Human. My wife had actually purchased this for me a few months ago, and I completely forgot about it. I am an awesome husband," he says. "This made me think about something. What do you think the best-selling game of all time was that was played the least?" Looking forward to Extra Life. We are too. Thank you. I love this question.
I thought about it, and I think my answer is The Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword.
What are you
Oh,
talking
interesting.
about?
I don't think a lot of people finished that game. I think a lot of people got frustrated with the motion controls.
super early.
Probably, yeah. Like because I think a lot of it sold really well. People, bought a lot, but everyone is down on it. They think it's like the worst 3D Zelda game.
10 out of 10, I heard, but yeah.
right. But I don't know like a ton of people that have finished. I think most people in the office finished it.
I did, yeah.
But I don't know. That would be my answer. I bet a lot of people
interesting.
didn't finish Skyward Sword because they got frustrated with motion controls.
I took a different route where I was thinking games that have sold well, but I've never heard of anybody that I know playing it and getting into it. But it sounds like a game like, I hear good stories. I should check this out. Dwarf Fortress will be my choice.
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing like that thing has been like $3 on Steam and everybody buys it and then they'll never boot up Dwarf Fortress.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like the classic game that like is on Steam that went on sale
Yeah.
that everyone's like, oh, I'll get around to that. at
Yeah,
some point.
gotta play
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Right. I wish Steam Spy was still around because I'm sure Dwarf Fortress has sold like 5
Yeah.
million, 6 million copies or something.
Well, it's probably like, I don't know, it's probably like a licensed game, honestly. That's something that's like,
But don't those get played by morons?
Kyle?
I played them. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. I guess I'm wrong. No, just something that's like M&M's Racing or something. Something that's like a grandma buys it for her kid.
Yeah. Oh, that's the 8 Mile track?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe
Or a Barbie game or something. you
I was
know?
Right.
I was trying to think of a very well-selling game that was kind of like super short. Like I jumped a limbo of like,
But does that count as not played that much because it's short?
well, like that was played he said played the least.
Play the least, yeah.
That's a crappy response, Sorio.
No,
Boo.
I took it that way, honestly.
Oh,
Because
really?
you're like, oh, it's not like GTA that where people were pouring hundreds of hours into it.
I don't know. I think more of like Final Fantasy 13, where I'm sure it sold really well, but I'm sure a lot of people were turned off super quick.
And so they didn't put that many hours into it, you're saying?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Brent Woodruff. Reeves, how would you pronounce this? This is a funny name.
Woodruff.
Okay.
It
You
was
say
not that
those
funny.
letters weird sometimes,
Yeah,
and I was hoping it would come
sometimes.
through. Ben and the Benettes.
Sucker.
Why are we so hostile
Tried to
towards each
trap
other?
me.
Ben and the Benettes. What was a new gameplay gimmick that you thought for sure was going to catch on but never really did? For example, I really thought Shadow of Mordor's Nemesis system was going to be widely copied and improved upon, and it never really happened. I also think of the later Splinter Cell games, augmented reality style text where it display location names and mission objectives in the environment. You should check out Mafia 3. They do that because it's a similar designer.
Oh, really?
Yep. So what do you think? Systems that you thought would catch on.
Perfect Dark Zero. Its multiplayer had a system where, depending on how many people were playing in a match, it would like grow the level that you were playing on. So if you're playing with like 24 people, it would be max size. But if you're playing with only like 12, it
Yeah.
would like cut it in
That's
half.
really interesting.
And then it also had where basically you would say, I always want to be red and I will always shoot blue.
Yeah.
Right.
I was going to mention that, too. Like,
Yeah.
that would seem like the smartest thing.
And so everybody would make their own decision. So maybe you would pick like I always want to shoot green people, and
Yeah.
from your perspective, all the villains would always be green. And from
Nothing
my
wrong with
perspective,
green people out there, but
yeah.
yeah.
And from my perspective, all the villains would be like blue or red or whatever. And I always thought that was a really cool system that I haven't really ever heard anyone mention or try
Yeah.
to rip off or anything.
That's
So.
weird. I'd imagine that would lead to like kind of banal map design if it can be that flexible.
Oh yeah, map design, yeah.
Yeah.
But because I struggle sometimes with like when you're playing like team matches and like Call of Duty or something, like figuring out like who's on my team and like to have just like to know that like my settings dictate exactly who the villains
Right.
are all the
Yeah.
time would
Right.
be helpful.
Now it's pretty much just like everybody's name is above their head, and if they don't have a name above their head, shoot them.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I feel like that color distinction is even like a quicker response.
And I feel like other games have done that. It's not like Perfect Dark's the only one.
Sure, but I don't know if I've ever selected like the person that I will always shoot no matter what I'm playing is red.
Right.
Like so when Halo, like sometimes you're on the red team, sometimes
Yep,
you're on
yep,
the blue
got it,
team.
got
So
it,
like
got
I don't know if I've seen that again. Since
Sure.
then. I don't
I
know.
feel like I have not seen enough. Like I played Dishonored 2, and that had like a quick save, quick load function even on console.
Oh,
which I
yeah.
thought was pretty cool, and I have not seen it since.
That's
as far
interesting.
as I know.
Yeah.
well,
But that's
Assassin's
definitely
Creed Odyssey, which is a game that's just too big. It's just got too much going on.
Shut up.
That has
Reeves.
a quick save feature.
Oh, does it really? That's cool.
Mason Cowell from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Woo woo.
That's right.
Says, hey, Ben and the guests. My question today is super specific. Which Pokemon do you wish was more useful?
Charizard.
For example, that coward. For example, I've always loved Nidoqueen and Nidoking. Pervert. But they're basically useless in the handheld games in Pokemon Go. What about you guys?
I was actually gonna say Charizard
Were you really?
Talking
in
about?
Pokemon Go, because like all the Pokemon, all like the people put the Pokemon that people put in gyms all the time are just like none of the Pokemon that I really care about. Like everyone puts in Blissey or like
Yeah.
Snorlax, and it's just like
I think that's one of the things I like about Pokemon Go is kind of the freaks have reigned supreme in the gym.
I want to put Charizard in there and know that he's powerful and he's strong.
That's true.
He breathes fire.
Can we just rule out Pokemon Go? Let's talk about real Pokemon games. I don't want that.
You're
Pokemon Go is
gonna say,
real. It's
Leo doesn't play
it's in
Pokemon
your
Go,
phone
but
and
us
look-
three we still play that game.
I know. I'm not casting judgment.
It's not going anywhere.
Relax.
Doesn't
But,
matter what Obama says.
I like rooting for the freaks in Pokemon. I like it when it's like, wow, this character or this Pokemon clearly isn't good, but like Tangela, I'll always have Tangela in my party. I'll never evolve a Haunter into Gengar because I'm pro Haunter, anti Gengar. It's like you don't need the peak stats to have an interesting party. The one that I think fits that I always wish was better, I think, is Ditto. I always want to use Ditto, but it's like unless you're doing some high level tricky ass play, there's just never a good use for him, you know?
I like Miralax. I wish he was more powerful.
Miralax?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a laxative.
Billy Cooper from Asheville, North Carolina writes in and says, "Hey, GI crew. Ben, I know you're a big fan of the Adam Carolla podcast. It's a complicated story. Any chance we could get some Bald Brian style drops on the show after hearing Dan repeatedly answer Bloodborne to multiple questions on a couple shows ago? I thought having that sound clip ready to go whenever you ask him a specific video game question would be funny. Yeah, the soundboard thing, it would be fun. I think it could get obnoxious so quickly. What with Leo's sense of humor, just spamming those buttons over and over again. But if you want something funny that is in a similar vein, I just went back and watched parts of it again just to double check that it was actually funny. Our super replay of Resident Evil 4 with Tim Turry at the sticks, episode 6, we secretly Skyped in Dan Reichert from the Giant Bomb studio. And Kyle, you're on that episode too.
Yeah, I remember it well.
And Dan was watching the replay secretly. And so nobody recording the Super Replay except for me knew this was happening. And then Dan just started going, yeah, get him, Tim. Get him, Tim. And like repeating the same lines over and over again. So everybody thought that I recorded and made a Dan Reichert soundboard. And then Dan just kept getting more and more specific to the point everyone's like, wait, what's going on here? Is he really on the line? And they'd be like, Dan, are you on the line? I'd be like, yeah. And then they'd say, oh, how you liking New York? And Dan would just go, yeah, like he would like bounce back to convincing him it was a soundboard. It is like a 10-minute saga of no one knowing what the hell is going on. And it's so funny.
And you guys never, right? You didn't like, hey Dan, I'm going to Skype you in. Let's pretend you're a soundboard, right? Like it just kind of happened, right?
I think
because
we
like
might
he
have
was
gone with the
checking to make
soundboard
sure
idea.
that he was picking up, and he said, I don't know. It was awesome. Like it really blew my mind because we went like a good. It must have been 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Thinking, not realizing he was actually there.
Right.
Did you let the audience know about that?
No.
No.
Like ahead of time?
No.
And when he
funny.
when he finally gave in, he was like, "Hey guys, yeah, no, I'm here." Like it just was like. It
But then
was
even then,
mind-blowing.
I think he goes back on it.
Yeah. It was-
Yeah.
Anyways, it's Super Replay Resident Evil 4
very
episode
funny.
6 if you want to watch that one. So Carl Claraboot from Newcastle, Australia says, "Hey Ben, love the show. Thank you. I have a silly idea for a segment with Brian Shea. I've noticed your man crush on the perfection of Shea and his presentation. I'm the dad of 2 kids, so I get it. There we go.
Okay.
I thought you. I don't understand that, but
Is this the thing where we shove a bunch of grapes down his pants?
Yeah. Why?
What?
Did you know where this is
Oh,
going?
sorry, I just knew.
Okay. What are we talking about? And that's why Leo will never take your throne. I thought you could have a wheel.
Wait,
of,
it's a toilet, isn't it? Oh, no.
oh boy, Leo.
All right,
now.
go ahead.
Leo's
Go
got
ahead.
it back.
I thought you could have a wheel of fortune with different challenges that you and Shay could do. Silly things like how you both do your hair in the morning, a 100-meter race, how go you get your t-shirts to make your muscles look so big? How do you get your t-shirts to make your muscles look so big? Anyway, suggestions from the community for challenges with me and Brian Shea. I don't really understand that email, but
Do you want to do that?
I would compete in challenges with Brian Shea, sure.
But the challenges are describe your shirt.
no, how to wear your shirt so it looks like your muscles are huge, like Shea does.
Oh, okay.
I feel like those are all Shay oriented.
I mean, Shay does work out, to give him some credit.
I've never tried picking his muscles with a little pinprick. I think it might just like
Might just be
deflate.
like grape juice.
Yeah, and then I've never tried shoving grapes down his pants, I guess.
Grapes are the key to comedy.
Okay, everybody,
Hey.
email of the week. What do you guys like?
Grape joke.
I like most sold, least played.
I like
'Cause I
that
think that's
too.
a really odd
a good
question.
one.
And I hope the community will send in other suggestions to podcast@GameInformer.com for most
Yeah.
sold, least played. I like, what your friends want you to shut up about, gameplay gimmick.
That was a
but,
good one.
I like most sold, least played too. Is everyone cool with that?
Sure.
Hear
I like
ye?
the gimmick one.
3 out of 4.
All right.
Sorry, Reeves.
Sorry, Reeves. Shut up. That's Christian from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Big PA, the big cheesesteak on the
There he
board.
is.
Very exciting.
What countries do we still need to have? What continents do we still need to have right in?
Africa.
Africa, Asia, and South America.
Come on, guys, you can do
I
it.
don't want to call them lazy, but get on it, everybody. Here we go. You want to know some fun facts about Philadelphia, Pennsylvania? Fresh on the board? Sure.
Okay.
Hey, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Fun fact, Reeves.
Yeah.
It's home to America's first zoo.
It's also home to the first hospital.
Naturally, the first medical school.
Home to the Big Bowl.
What's the big bowl, Reeves?
I don't know.
It's Comedy Throne.
Is the home to the first general-purpose computer in 1946.
It weighed 27 tons.
We're all on the same side.
They did the world's largest cheesecake.
Art is a big deal there.
Today,
Is that a fun
it
fact?
can... Oh, hang on. It's loading
Oh,
images.
sorry, Kyle. Are you not having fun?
I'm having a great time.
Okay.
In 1943, Phillies owner Robert Carpenter attempted to rename the team the Blue Jays. It failed to catch on.
Ha.
Thank you, Mental Floss. Philadelphia, welcome to
Hold
the
on,
big
one
board.
more.
Oh,
Today, it can take many in less than an hour.
What?
it's a follow-up
It can
fact.
take that many in less than an hour.
Yeah, Mental Floss
That-
really
that's
stretching
number
these
19
suckers
on
out.
this.
Okay, thank you so much for writing in. Podcastinginformer.com for the future. Remember to tune in for Extra Life. For now, get ready for an interview with Mark MacDonald from Enhanced Games and also 8-4 Play Podcast, and Tetsuya Mizuguchi from Sega fame, Rez, and now Tetris Effect. Also mentioned that we have a surprise rapid fire interview with Mizuguchi, which is very fun. But the twist at the end, Mark MacDonald throws a rapid fire in my direction, and it's
Oh, really?
very unnerving. So stay tuned for a fun interview, everybody.
I'm yours forever. There is no end in sight for us, nothing could measure the kind of strength inside our hearts. It's all connected. We're all together in this love, don't you forget it. We're all connected in this. I'm yours forever.
Mizuguchi and Mark MacDonald, welcome to the Game Informer Show, guys.
Thank you very much. Thanks for
you.
having us.
In studio, it's a rare treat.
Long time, first time.
Oh my god!
Long time, first time. Big fan.
Technically, you've been on before. I think because we recorded in
True.
the 8-4 Towers and then
Yes.
brought the video back.
First time being here. You still have the same theme song,
You
unfortunately.
hate the theme song so much.
It's just generic.
Look, Super
just
Mercado
generic.
Brothers put it together. I think it's supposed to be like a Mega Man homage. What do you
Okay.
want? What's like
Okay,
the
no.
perfect podcast theme song? Dive into it, please.
No, I'm just saying. I think you guys, honestly, not you. I've told you this before. I think you guys have one of the best podcasts going.
It's very sweet.
I really do. It's a great podcast. I think it's underappreciated, in fact. And when I look to the reasons why it would be underappreciated, maybe it's the theme. People are just like, nope, to immediately like turn it off.
They've heard good things,
Theme
and they
song.
make it 4 seconds in. Like, no, what is this garbage?
It's actually grown on me because now I've just heard it so many times. That,
You're the master of podcasting. I don't know if you saw
That's
this
not true.
recently. No, it's really true. Like Reset Era had a thread.
Yeah.
By the way, Mizuguchi-san, thank you for being here. We'll get to you in just a second. We have so many questions for you, sir.
yes, Tetsuya Mizuguchi.
Yeah, keep to talk.
We didn't get Miz didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so he might just take a nap
Yeah,
over
maybe
in the
so.
corner, right?
My
There's a-
brain is.
What time is it
okay,
right now
I
in
need
Japan?
to-
Let's not worry about that.
Forget about that.
Yeah,
It's
let's
not
forget
important.
about that.
Anyways,
yes.
Reset Era had a thread recently where it's like, hey, what makes
Yeah.
a good gaming podcast? So many responses, a couple nice mentions of the Game Informer show in there, which we appreciate. But so
Oh.
many responses in there were saying, oh man, Mark MacDonald, one up
Shut
yours.
up.
You got to have that old crew. So please, I'm looking for any feedback, any advice. You could steer the GI show right now. What do you
Okay,
want?
first of all,
Yeah.
I think if you also made a thread, what's the worst part about podcasts? I know there were people that would say Mark MacDonald, like, doesn't let people talk, shouts over people, doesn't let people talk about Muso games.
Thinks
like,
it's funny to be an asshole.
blah blah blah. Dude, I can't give you advice. You guys do great. You guys like actually put work into the podcast. Like you prep
Thank you.
things, you have segments, you have like, as opposed to like jackasses like us that just roll up and are like, I don't know who played what 5 minutes before, what's happening. You plan, you have guests, you have like a cavalcade of 600 people on every episode that roll through. People are clapping like every 5 minutes in and out. It's great. Like you have such a deep bullpen here of people who all really know their stuff. See, I'm trying now to not curse as much as possible.
No, have at
Who
it.
all really know their stuff. and are really eloquent and good at talking about stuff, and you guys call each other out on stuff when appropriate, which I think is a big ingredient of what I look for, like in a podcast. I think that I don't have advice for you guys. I have what I can say I do like in podcasts. I like people who have opinions and who will defend their opinions. I hate it when it's like, oh, okay, yo, you feel that way? Okay, cool. Oh, yeah, to each their own. Like, yeah, you don't like that game? Yeah, you're right. Maybe it's a bad game. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't like it. Like, that's probably a nicer trait to have in a person meeting them or a friend of mine.
But it's not memorable at all
on
for
a
listeners.
podcast. Well, it's just I want people who have strong opinions and who are willing to defend them and not being jerks about it. But I want people to call people on stuff. Well, wait a second. The people who are asking the same questions who listeners are, or it's like, well, hold on, but you thought this about that game. So why then does this game the exception? And not that gotcha, you're wrong, but yeah, why is that? Analyze that. Maybe you don't even realize yourself why that is. But
and it's tough too because you try and talk to people about, hey, come down to the podcast. It'd be nice if you had some strong opinions. You don't want to manufacture it. And so many games out there are hovering around the fine level. That's the worst take, right? Dan Tack hates it a lot too. He always complains about it when people come on the podcast and just saying, it's fine.
Yeah.
There's a couple interesting things, pros and cons, and it's like, can't you sex it up a little bit? Here we go.
Well, and it's like, even if you can elaborate on here's the good points well and here are the bad points well, and okay, yeah, that's why it's turning out into a fine thing. But I get it where it's like some people sometimes are just like, yeah, it's all right. I kind of like the story. Oh, what'd you like about the story? Yeah, it's a pretty good story.
Yeah.
It's a well-told story. It's like, okay. And I get it. Not everybody, has grown up like we have thinking in terms of game reviews and stuff like that to where it's just like second nature. But when you get those people, it's so great. And like I said, you have those people. I mean, you're at a magazine, so of course you better have those people.
I would hope so.
But I think you guys are doing really great work,
Thank
and
you,
I think you need to do a better job getting word out. I don't see enough people on my Twitter feed, which is all that matters.
I understand that.
I'm just kidding, but I follow a lot of gaming industry people, and I don't see enough people talking every week about the Game Informer podcast.
We also agree it's a crisis. No, it's doing well, but it is tough.
I'm sure it is doing well, but I think I want to see it doing better among the people in our peer group. Maybe that's more specifically what I mean. I think it. Yeah.
Well, how do you guys get word out about Tetris Effect? What's that been like?
I want to hear you.
You just want to sit and hear us talk about podcasting for a while, right?
Keep talking.
What is it like? Is it an interesting challenge to say hey, Tetris Effect, here's why you should care about a new Tetris game. It's different.
Yeah. I mean, I think especially at first, before we debuted at E3, we would talk to a lot of people.
June 6th.
Right. Yeah. Our World Tetris Day when we debuted.
Yeah.
But before that, when we would explain to people that we were making a new Tetris game, I think there were a lot of people that were like, oh, okay, all right. Wait, what is it? Why? Yeah, exactly.
Why? Everybody asks why.
And then
what?
Yeah.
What?
Right? And then what? And you'd say, as part of it, you would say, well, and also you can play it in VR. It's VR optional. And they'd be like, oh, okay, Tetris in VR, so the blocks are going to be flying at your face, or you're going to be, well, how does that work, or whatever. And it's like, well, it plays into what else we were talking about, which is that we want to actually, make a Tetris game where you feel something, where you, it's takes you on this journey, not to sound super pretentious, but people would kind of get this quizzical look. Anytime you're explaining the game when you couldn't show it to people, or even better, have them play it, it was a little bit of a challenge, right? Because it was like, okay, it just sounds like you're talking about a better looking Tetris game.
With a great soundtrack.
And so I can say oh, the music is great, but until you actually hear it, until I think we had that debut trailer as kind of our big proof of concept to people, we worked really hard on that. And I'm really, really proud of it. And one of the reasons is because I think it sums up the game really nicely using all game assets. But it tells you that this is a new kind of Tetris. It tells you that it's about something more than just we wanted to make a new Tetris game as fast as we could, or, you know, and it tells you that it's very musically audio focused. It tells you that it's a Mizuguchi game.
much emotional and
Right.
it's a new experience. Totally new experience. I think.
Yeah.
So with the music, sound effects, the visual effects, it's getting
all matching up
all
and moving
matching.
around, like we did in the trailer, and people got it immediately, which we were so happy about, because it's not the easiest game in the world to explain, especially before you have that that visuals. Even developing the game, something that we ran into is we had really nice proof of concept kind of trailers, but just stuff that we made like image trailers basically. There was no actual gameplay to them, just purely created trailers. And so we did have that, but while you're developing a game like this, there's not equivalent of another type of game where you could have basically gray box, you could have like no textures and whatever, and you could just start to feel like if it's fun or not, or how interesting it is or not. It's not that type of game, right? All you would have is just Tetris. And so while the levels were being created and the graphics were not there and the audio was not there, the audio didn't sync up with what you were doing, the particles were not reacting to the music and to what you were doing, you didn't have the effect that we were describing was the whole point of the game, which is you just completely lose yourself. You get out of your head, you forget what you're playing, you forget the time, you forget, whatever Facebook friends yelling at you, or like whatever the president did that day, or Twitter drama, all that stuff, which honestly, that's the big selling point for us of this game, is that it's a game that you're supposed to be able to chill out and get out of your head while you're making that game, especially in VR, and the frame rate's not there and all of that stuff. It's really hard. You can lose sight of, you can lose confidence that it's going to be there. But
we wanted to enhance zone experience. Everybody talking about a zone,
a feeling of being in the zone.
Yeah, for sure.
It's getting the focus and getting the white,
right,
in the mind and brain, and so that kind of a zone experience we wanted to recreate.
Yeah,
and so we decided to put the new elements as a zone system.
Right.
That was a big challenge. We tested many types.
Yeah, many different new mechanics.
It's like a multiplier overall. That's how the zone thing works, right?
Yeah, basically you kind of stop time is one way of describing it. You build up a meter by clearing lines. You stop time. The pieces stop falling on their own, and then the idea is that if you're a beginning player, you just could catch your breath. You can clear away a few lines. You can just strategize. You can get your next pieces all lined up. But if you're as you get better, or if you are already a better player, you can use it for big time bonus scoring. So all the lines get moved to the bottom, and basically however many lines you can amass over the course of that, once they get cleared out, you get a bonus based on that. You get an additional bonus if you clear over 8 of them, which is an octorus. So for good players, it's totally like bonus score time.
Yeah, right.
Those lines also do not contribute towards the line clear count that progresses you towards the next stage.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like stopping your game for a minute, going over here. Okay, now you have a chance to score a whole bunch of points. Okay, now you're back in the game.
Perfect.
So last weekend we were just watching like pro players play the game.
Yeah, it's getting 17, 18, 19.
Almost every time.
20.
Yeah, 20 is the max,
Perfect.
and a guy got 20.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
an amazing play.
If you think about that, so the piece appears on the grid. It doesn't
Okay.
appear above the grid. So he had to, even with that last line, he had to make it such that the piece that was going to appear in a place that had a gap. So, I mean, it's just like, it's next level. I can't even process how good these guys were at playing it. But it was incredibly satisfying to see them having fun with it, too.
Where was this?
This was in Portland, Retro Gaming Expo.
Okay, and it was like the Tetris Championships.
This
or
was the
something
classic Tetris World Championships. They crowned a new world champion, which Jonas, who has been the 7-time champion, he's only lost once ever, lost to a 16-year-old wunderkind who plays
New star.
Yeah, he uses both thumbs on the D-pad and uses his other fingers as the other two fingers, and that's on NES controller. And the reason why that's important is the speeds get such that even just to be able to get to the sides of the playfield,
Right.
you have to do it faster than you can do it with one thumb bouncing back and forth.
Right. So going back to that first trailer,
Yeah.
I think a secret weapon for that first trailer is that song.
Yes.
Is it called "I'm Yours Forever" or what's
So
it called?
it is called Connected,
Oh.
parentheses, Yours Forever, end
Connected.
parentheses.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
This song will not leave anybody's head. It is infectious. It's amazing. I had it in
awesome.
my head for months and months.
I love it.
Where does this come from? Where did the song come from?
So come from an internal team.
Okay.
So we have very good talents. We have 2 sound designers. This is also the music composer. So the artist's name is Hydraulic. So Hydraulic made Resident Infinite also. Area X music.
Area X music, yeah.
Yeah. So they are still young, but they are the keep the crime.
Yeah. Really, just really talented.
So really,
I mean,
really good talent.
it was a huge compliment for people to be like, where's this song from? Because it's from a video game. But people thought it was an existing, like a pop song.
Totally.
And people want to know who the singer was and all of that stuff. And we were caught totally flat-footed. I'll be honest. And so that's why all the videos you'll see out there, you had good advice, which is, hey, throw that thing up on YouTube. If we were smart,
Why did you do
or
that?
had more time, we would have done that. I think what we're going to do is wait until we have, because anybody else can do that, and we don't want to show up the fans who are doing that right now. And so
And they all call it "I'm Yours Forever."
I know. And
Yeah.
so that's why it was called, we didn't have a name for it then, but if you listen to the full song, Yours Forever just implied something a little bit different than kind of what the meaning of the song was. And so it's connected, but it's parentheses Yours Forever because we know everybody's going to call it Yours Forever. And the
Yeah.
SEO on Yours
That was
Forever
proven.
is going to send people there. But that song, if you like that song, the dynamic theme that we're making that you get if you pre-order, or you can buy it separately, that has that song. The soundtrack sampler that you only get if you pre-order, physical or digital, at least in the States, that's on there. There's 7 songs.
Is that the best song in the game? Do you guys think your favorite?
We have many very good songs.
What's your favorite?
It's a really difficult question.
You want to hum some bars? It's also a funny question because nobody will have heard it yet in this podcast.
No one can call you out.
But
So
you
anyway,
can say
we
which
have,
stage.
We have over 30
I mean,
tracks.
there's-
I think the 40 tracks.
I want to say there's close to 50.
Oh,
total.
including instruments, yes.
But including
Yeah,
some of the optional menu music and stuff, some of the unlockables. I will say my favorite track is the track that we are using for the next trailer. That's going to be our launch day trailer. Where I'll be really curious what you think about that. I still get goosebumps just hearing the track. And I did with yours. I just called it Yours Forever. I did with Connected as well. But I don't want to set expectations too high for our next trailer.
You'll
but
weep within seconds.
That's
It is the
right.
complete opposite of the Game Informer Show theme song in every way. I
You
guarantee
can use it as your theme song. How about that?
Sign the
Connected Yours
contract.
Forever.
Let's go.
Okay.
Please.
It's done. Yes. It's called what's the name of the track? Always Been But Never Dreamed is the name of the track of our next trailer. So yeah. Anyway.
Interesting.
Yes.
We should point out, you guys are here in the office. We recorded a new Gameplay Today video that's going in depth on all sorts of new modes. Is that the way you're framing it?
It's the whole game. So
Okay.
up until now at E3 when we made our debut, which is all we've really done, all we've really shown up until now is now we call it Journey Mode. It was called Story Mode then. Journey Mode, it was a placeholder name always. Journey Mode is our final name for it. That is the main campaign of the game, if you will. That is like the heart and soul of the game. However, there are a number of other modes. We're calling effect modes. We ran down all of those. We did show some more stages in Journey Mode as well, but we talked about that stuff. We talked about some of the online functionality. There's kind of some light community aspects to. There's no battle mode. There's no head-to-head playing, but There are things like leaderboards. There are things like ways to kind of show off and brag to your friends, to show like kind of novel, interesting ways to show off. One of which we ripped from Halo 3. I'll let people figure out which one that is, but things like unlocking avatars and level system to show your friends just like how good you are, how much you've been playing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you can check it out on GameInformer.com next week.
That's right. That'll probably, yes, exactly. So our it's the Monday the 29th, I think that. Yeah, right, next week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Just call it
Perfect.
next week.
You got it. So you pitched when you were coming here that you want to do rapid fire.
Yes.
Rapid fire interviews, which we
Yes.
normally reserve only for cover stories.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
It's a very special occasion.
Oh my
Mark. This
goodness.
is sacred ground.
Unprecedented.
Yes.
That's why. Okay, yeah. I'm just a fan. I might have you might not know this, but my claim to fame at EGM was I did something that I called bonus round.
Okay.
When I would interview only like people like Kojima or Miyamoto, people who I was going to see maybe once a year. The reason I did it is because I would always have 50 questions. What's happened to 100 Marios? Like questions that weren't good enough for the main interview and like long substantial questions. And so with the last 5 minutes, what I would do is say, okay, we're going to go through rapid fire bonus round now. Just give me like a one word or quick one sentence answer to all of these things.
So we accidentally ripped you off? Is that the point here?
Was it accidentally, Ben? Can we
Hey, look,
come
man,
clean now?
I have never seen that.
Really?
I swear to God.
Really?
I swear to God.
Well, okay, because here's what the thing was. It was for print.
Right.
So you wouldn't have seen it because it was never recorded. It was recorded via like audio. But yeah, we never, that was back in the Stone Ages where I was, rubbing the sticks together to make the magazine every week. But it was just, I would include that as part of the interview, or we'd throw it in the rumors or something if anything interesting came out of it. But it was the best kept secret of game interviewing. And so I'm kind of a little upset that somebody else finally found it, even though it took you guys a few years.
Yeah, it was like, No Man's Sky in 2013, I think was the first one. But I think our biggest mistake was we kind of cooled it a little bit. It was like, we'll only save it for certain developers. But now it's gotten to a point where it's kind of picked up steam where we're on a roll. We're the last, I don't know, Leo in the booth, what are they, like 6 or 7 at least cover stories in a row. Like no one's turned it down. So we just have to hit that super.
Do they know what it is before it starts?
Some do.
That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah. We always prep them ahead of time.
You do. You send them a sample?
Yeah, for sure. Just, hey, hope you guys know this is going to get weird. This is going to get silly. It's going to be about 40% joke questions.
Yeah.
Some are going to be bizarre. You can just make a dumb face if you want. No pressure.
Okay.
But it really helps having like that Miyamoto video. Once we did it with Miyamoto, it's like, well, now nobody can turn this down.
Yeah,
at
that's
this
true.
point.
What are you, better than Miyamoto?
Yeah, exactly. He's a
good
good
for this?
sport.
Yeah, exactly.
So Mizuguchi-san, we have some questions for you if you're ready.
Oh,
Did you hear that prep though? You can not answer things. You could just make a funny face if you want to.
But it's audio for the podcast as well, so no funny faces. So I'm
I'll
sorry for
describe-
you. You actually have to answer
I'll
every
just
single
describe
one.
the funny face. I also
ready?
might pop in if necessary. We'll see how tough. Sometimes they throw in a curveball. They throw in a tough question every once in a while.
That's true. All right.
You might hear a no comment from me before Ms. can even talk. But
Just give it time to breathe. Give it time to breathe, Mark.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right.
So this is going to be edited after the fact too.
Right
okay.
on.
Ready?
Okay.
Are you a good sport?
What?
So in your first meeting ever for Tetris Effect, were you guys like, I guess we got to make this thing weird?
I think so.
What's Tetris Effect about?
Trippy?
In that fiery worship level from Tetris Effect that we saw at E3, what were those people worshiping?
Bali.
They were worshiping Bali?
Yeah, Bali god.
Wow.
Yeah, the Bali god, Ben.
Is Bali in the game? Other than Tetris Effect, what's your favorite Tetris game of all time?
Arcade.
Okay.
Sega Arcade.
Yeah.
In the dev tools for Tetris Effect, can you just make infinite straight lines, and is it just like the most satisfying thing of all time?
Yeah, so good. Feel good.
You can do it, and it feels so good.
It's so good.
At any time, just
Anytime.
boom.
Yeah, Tetris.
Boom, Tetris. Boom, Tetris.
What's your favorite Western game that came out this year?
No, I couldn't play at all this year. Just only Tetris Effect.
What's the most satisfying moment of your professional life?
Tetris Effect.
Just developing Tetris Effect?
Yeah, so every time, the newest project is very exciting to me. Yeah, so I don't want to go back.
Would you ever want to see a Dreamcast classic console someday?
Yes. Yes.
What games need to be on that?
Space Channel 5.
Did you like watching people play your games in the arcade?
Yes, very much.
Which one was your favorite to watch?
Now it's Tetris Effect.
What about in the arcade though?
When I was made a Sega Rally, first one, arcade, all day we went to the arcade game center and watching the people and watch the reaction. The people like to play, and after game over, it's some people kick the arcade machine, or some people say like that.
Yeah.
So, and but that kind of people coming back.
Yeah, then it's
maybe
a good thing.
5 minutes later
Yeah.
or 10 minutes later. So everybody, I was so like yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, we got the engagement finally.
What do you think is the greatest arcade game of all time?
Hang on.
Is that the...
Hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a bike.
Yu Suzuki's.
Yu Suzuki's.
Oh.
80s, I think.
Did you like the one that you had to actually lean on?
No, I didn't. It's like the big controller.
Yeah.
Under my.
It's an actual bike. Yeah. Right. Under here, yes.
Yeah. But I was so surprised and I was shocked because what is this? In an arcade game center.
The whole bike just right there.
Yeah.
And then you did the whole car with Sega Rally.
Yeah.
The whole car on mnemonics.
Yeah, that was my dream. One of my dreams.
How much did that cost, that arcade cabinet? Sorry, I'm taking
no,
over the
please,
interview.
have at it.
No. Maybe we got a car from Toyota.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the promotion exchange.
A lot of people bought that car because of that game too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I contributed to Toyota.
Yes. You should be getting
Much
shares still.
You can march into the
royalty.
headquarters right now. You own the place, man.
But that had to have been $50,000.500万以上だったでしょ？
何が？
そのセガラリー本物の車があるアーケードキャビネットだった。
No, 多分 250,000.
Oh, so 25,000.
25,000.
25,000? Really?
25,000.
Wow, that's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
That's cheaper
or
than I thought.
Yeah,
30,000.
Would you ever want to make another game like Sega Rally?
I don't think so.
Not interested in racing anymore?
Yeah, I did that a lot.
What don't we know about Sega in the 90s? What don't we appreciate?
Freedom.
Creative
freedom. Yeah, there was very good atmosphere. We had the competition, each other, but cooperation, and no senior, no teacher. Everybody 20s. Was 20s, including me, and that was very good time.
Was it your favorite time in the game industry?
Yeah, but still keeping the same feeling.
Yeah, keep rolling, man.
Yeah, all the time, the new technology is coming and no teacher, for us, So all the time is a new adventure. Very exciting.
Do you remember 99 Nights?
Yes, very much.
Why did you have to make the trolls so sad in that game?
That inspiration was Rashomon by Kurosawa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a great movie. And what is justice type of movie, right?
Right.
So, it depends on the point of view, the feel, emotion, and the humanity. What is the justice is totally changed for everybody. So, and we needed that kind of a sad story too.
Who's the most talented game developer you've ever met?
Ueda Fumito.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And why is that?
So he's very pure. He's so pure. And he loves the games, and he's, deeply thinking about what is that new game experience with storytelling, emotional kind of involvement. So yeah, he has not too much words all the time. He's a little bit silent,
Quiet guy.
Quiet guy. But he's so talented, I think.
How's he doing now? Have you talked to him recently?
I haven't seen him in last 6 months, I think. So, but he's starting the new project, right?
Yeah. Have you interacted much with the folks from Harmonix?
Alex is my friend. Yeah, he's old friend. So I met him in, I think, 2000. No, I think in 1999, maybe.
Oh, wow.
So in the middle of the production of Rez, he's very good, my friend.
Would you ever consider working on a game with them?
I never thought about that. Yeah, good rival and a good competition and a good
Yeah.
friend.
Do you ever listen to Mark's podcast?
So because I'm talking with Mark all day.
You can't hear his voice
so-
anymore. I get
why
it.
would
yeah,
you?
He's sitting beside me and I'm
Yeah.
sitting beside the Mark.
Yeah.
And
He's a living podcast. You're good.
Yeah.
You get
all
enough
the
of it.
time.
Yeah.
You get enough of
that's
me
enough.
already.
That's enough.
Did you play Astrobot?
Not yet.
I have it in my bag.
Did you guys see that hilarious VR sequence from the Johnny English Strikes Again trailer?
Is this a Mr. Bean movie?
Yeah, he thinks he's in VR,
Oh,
and it gets
God.
wacky because he ends up punching human beings in the face on the street.
No.
You'd love it, Mark.
Virtual reality.
It's completely immersive, and some people lose all track of their actual surroundings.
That's not gonna happen.
Why doesn't the Avatar in Rez fly like Superman, or fly in a more comfortable way?
That's Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not Rez.
What's the weirdest thing you ever did in that vibration suit that you made for Rez Infinite?
Yeah, sometimes I'm losing my consciousness. That's a joke. That's a feel good. Anyway, feel good. 26 vibration moving on your body with the music, with texture.
Right.
Yeah.
So just when you wanted to relax, you
Yeah.
just put it on.
Imagine.
Is your gaming chair at home just a washing machine?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Do you ever see a construction worker on the sidewalk with a jackhammer and just want to go hug it?
Yes. Oh, I want to do it. I want to do it.
Here's a tough question. Which culture do you think is healthier emotionally? Japan or America?
I think it's the United States.
Interesting. Why is that?
So we have some filter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in a public sometimes, yes. So but I think that you should make the right answer.
Yeah, Mark, what's the call, man?
Oh, that one's so tough. I'm gonna get a lot of people pissed at me, whichever one I choose. I think I've been there now long enough to. They both have big time.
Yeah.
Pluses and minuses. There's very different pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
But
yeah, US is also,
which one is emotionally healthier, man? That's tough to say because there's some messed up stuff on both sides. There's some real messed up stuff on both sides, and there's some good parts on both sides. But yeah.
Is this a situation where I need to push you on the podcast to come down on an answer?
I
is
think
this what
you do.
like?
Yeah, I know it's fine. Japanese culture's fine. Ben,
Everything
US
has their
culture's
pluses
fine.
and minuses.
Yeah.
Who can choose?
Exactly.
All right, he goes with Japan. What was it like working with Sakurai on Meteos?
Yeah, that was a wonderful experience. So, and he's so great game designer. He's so great. So he can design the details. So this is like a sculpture. His own sculpture.
Huh.
Yeah.
And that's his magic, is he's so focused on details?
Yeah. And he has the vision all the time, the detail vision. So, and he all the time, he knows what is the best tuning for this game, what's the best structure, architecture for this idea. So
I remember that's what Iwata said about him, that he said his special skill was that he could imagine the final product down to the details before having to go in and play it and tune it. He already knew, okay, this is how much damage that should take, and this is how, to a crazy level of detail where anyone else would just build it and then figure it out the rest of the way.
Right.
Right.
Perfect. Whose idea was Meteos Disney Magic?
I forgot about that.
Did Sakurai try really hard to get the Smash Brothers bubble UI into Meteos?
I don't think so.
While you're at Q Entertainment, did you guys ever consider making a game called The Storm?
I don't think so.
What system is selling the best for Luminous Remastered?
Switch.
Is it Switch? Switch by a mile?
Yes.
What was the first album you bought with your own money?
Yeah, it's a British pop style council.
What is it?
Style council.
Style console?
Yeah.
Are you a good dancer?
Yes, in the game.
Yes, Space Channel 5?
Like a Space Channel 5, yes. I had the role in Space Channel 5 too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which one?
I was as teacher.
Have you ever thrown an invisible rope on a friend to try and get them on the dance floor?
No.
What's your favorite song of all time?
It's so tough.
Last song you really enjoyed, maybe?
Oasis.
What is it?
Oasis.
Oasis?
Yeah. I listen Champagne Supernova in airplane.
So it's Champagne Supernova is your favorite song?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes, in airplane and, falling asleep.
So with Tetris Effect, are you going to have just normal-ass Tetris in this thing, or is it all going to be funky, trippy Tetris?
Yeah, yes. You do.
We got normal Tetris too.
Yeah.
2-player support at all in the game?
Nope.
Maybe a patch in the future?
Maybe.
Will the music in the final level in Tetris Effect be the Tetris theme?
You're talking about the Russian music?
Yeah.
Secret.
Interesting. So it might be in the game after all.
Secret.
What is the worst Tetris piece?
Square?
The O block.
How much of a cut of every game sold does the Tetris company get?
No comment.
Too much?
No, I would say it's very. In our case, I can only speak to our case, but I would say in our case, it's actually very fair. I mean, I'm not just saying that. I would just tell you to cut it if I was just if I didn't believe that. But thanks to Ms., I would say
thanks
very
to Mark.
fair.
Will the sequel be called Tetris Effect Andromeda?
No.
What's frustrating about working with the Western press?
No.
Wow.
You guys don't.
All the time, it's fun.
I'll say for my point, you
Please.
don't send us all of your coverage and reviews before to edit.
Yeah.
Classic mistake from the West.
Yes.
So Michael Jackson demanded to be in Space Channel 5,
Yes.
and you couldn't say no.
No, I couldn't. Because, he's like God.
How did that happen?
So, Michael Jackson, often he came to Sega to check the new games at the time. So, and he found the many games, under-developing games. And somebody showed the Space Channel 5. And I think that he wanted to appear in the game. So I got an offer from him, but just right before a month of the project finish end. So that was really tough decision to me because, we needed to ship, 4 weeks later, but I got an offer from him at that timing. So, yeah, we had a meeting in the team, how can we express that kind of, feel?
Yeah.
So everybody respect to him. And, we got a big inspiration from his music videos and the music itself. And okay, let's think about the idea. We can prepare just, the small, tiny role. And the guy named Space Michael was invaded by alien and forced to dance. And you can, the player can save Michael Jackson. And this is the best, offer from us. We can do that because, we can change a character.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
And we add the music and the sounds and the dialogue from Michael Jackson. And so we expected he refused our offer because this is not, the main character. But he said Yes.
Did he want to star in your next game then?
Yeah. So the next game, Space Channel 5 Part 2, we gave him a big role.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Did he do mocap for that?
Sega did mocap before. I think long years ago.
With Michael Jackson.
With Michael Jackson.
Really?
After Moonwalker, I think.
It's probably as part of Moonwalker.
Yeah. But
after the game Moonwalker.
So old, long years ago. So we tried to use that kind of, the motion data, but I think it's too rough and too old.
Gotcha.
So we made his debut, animation by hand at the time. So anyway, I got, I don't remember. I never forget about that. I got a tape from Michael Jackson, his dialogue, in Space Channel 5. I asked to him, okay, please say, help, ooh la la, help. And,
so it wasn't in a recording booth? You didn't go with him to a recording booth? You just had to...
I think that he recorded in his private,
and he sent you
studio.
a tape.
And I got a tape from him, and I listened that. So I was so shocked because his tension was so low.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think his tension is pretty nice, but the other characters, of Space Channel 5 is so high.
Yeah.
So,
tension is like the level of like excitement
mismatch.
or like, giving it his all.
So he was just coming into the mic and going, help.
Yeah, like that.
Oh,
and
no.
I asked to him,
So you had to go to Michael Jackson with notes and say, step it up.
Excuse me, God, not good enough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can you settle this whole thing? He did contribute in some way to Sonic 3's soundtrack, right?
I think so.
Do you know how much?
I don't know.
Okay.
That was not my project.
Last question. Would you sign our Dreamcast issue of Game Informer so that we can auction it off during Extra Life for charity this year?
Yes, sure.
Hell yeah. That sounds,
Yes,
that's
sure.
awesome.
All right, the cover isn't the kindest thing.
Wow.
Ignore the ready to blow big text on there.
Okay. Somebody was getting creative with the creative photography. Yeah,
It's
you
really
just
all
put
I
it right
need.
on
I
the
think the
Dreamcast.
story is, a game fell through and it was just, all right, here we go. Dreamcast ready to blow. That's going to be the cover story.
We got
here.
those M80s still from 4th of July.
Hell
left over.
yeah.
Now we could be careful because if this gets wiped, it might just wipe right off.
All right, we'll let it sit there for a little while.
Okay.
Sweet. Extra Life this year, November 3rd. We'll auction it off. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for being a good
Thank you very
support.
much.
Thank you as well. I've got something though also.
Okay, take it away, man.
I'm a big fan, like we talked about,
Sure.
of the rapid fire interview question format, and
Yeah.
I came up with some of my own.
It's going to be brutal. Okay.
So no, it's not at
All right.
all. This was just me on the plane on the way here
Love
thinking like in random things. Okay. Are we ready? Are the cameras situated?
I think
because
so.
camera cuts are key to
right.
the comedy or the interest level.
Leo's
of how this
the
is done.
funniest guy in the office. You're
All
in good
right.
hands.
I
man.
believe it because those things are so well edited. So pardon me looking at my phone half of
Please.
the time. Okay, so what's your name?
Ben.
What's your full name?
Benjamin Merrill Hanson.
Was it your idea that people called you Hanson and not Ben?
No.
Why do people call you Hanson and not Ben?
Because there's too many Bens out there.
Do you have a nickname?
No.
So Andy is the game dandy. Reiner is the raging gamer.
Yeah.
Ben is the...
Hands-on gamer?
what does that mean?
I play games.
How old are you?
31.
Describe your job in 10 words or less.
Go on cover story trip. Edit videos. Post videos. Cast.
Okay. You got that last one. I was going to say you're going to have to do the podcast. Annual salary pre-tax.
No comment.
Best video you ever made.
Either the Smash Brothers documentary or Rapid Fire with Miyamoto.
Worst, most disappointing video you've ever made.
Our Skyrim interviews with Todd Howard, because I thought it was cutesy with the camera angles, and it is obnoxious to have like close-ups of his hands and his ears. It's insane. It's embarrassing, and YouTube still remembers.
Why did you name your Spider-Man podcast The Game Informer Show?
Good stuff.
If you could steal one item from the Game Informer vault, what would it be?
Ooh, sealed copy of Custer's Revenge.
Does Marvel sponsor this podcast?
God damn it, Mark. No, we just happen to like that game.
What's your favorite recurring podcast segment?
Back of the Box Trivia.
Best Game Informer staff podcast member?
Dan Tack might secretly be... I'm always happy when he's on.
Why?
Strong opinions.
Worst Game Informer podcast member?
Leo, because we can't have a camera on him when he's in the booth, but he's so funny that it creates this weird uneven tension. Thank you.
Nicely sidestepped. Do they lock the Game Informer vault?
Yes, they do.
Finish this Game Informer cover story podcast anecdote quote. Going in, we were skeptical, but then...
It blew our minds.
Finish this song lyric. Oh, wait, I forgot a question. Any relation with you and 90s seminal pop group Hanson?
No, but I love Mbop.
Okay.
Unironically.
So I screwed this up because now it's finish this song lyric. Mbop.
Bop, bop, mbop. Mbop, yeah.
Okay.
Mizuguchi-san, do you know Hanson at all? Okay.
Andy and Reiner, will they or won't they?
They will.
Does Insomniac sponsor this podcast?
God damn it. It's a game club, Mark. We have to be thorough, man.
Game Infarser? Seriously?
It's a bad name, right?
Worst Game Informer review of all time? Incorrect. Next question. Why was Paper Mario the worst Game Informer review of all time?
I forgot about Paper Mario.
Do you seriously think anyone would notice if something went missing from the Game Informer vault?
No.
What's up with that Dan Reichert guy?
Lovable, but an idiot.
Favorite gaming podcast besides this one?
Easy. Hang on. Forgot who I'm talking to.
What?
I love
That's
you
your
for
answer.
I love you for Easy Allies was my go-to response.
That's
I'm sorry.
not my.
I'm sorry.
That's not me fishing for anything.
Okay.
That's an honest question. Dream podcast guest.
Ooh, Will Wright.
How much time do you spend preparing each podcast?
Including playing games?
No.
Hour and a half.
Finish this plot summary. When Ben and Suryo find themselves locked overnight in the game vault.
Mark runs off with the stash.
Approximate number of hours you'd estimate Andy has spent playing World of Warcraft.
9 months.
Approximate number of hours you'd estimate Andy has spent playing Destiny 1 and 2 together.
30 weeks.
Approximate number of hours you'd estimate Andy has spent making love to his wife. You can include when they were dating.
12 long months.
Seriously, who thought Game Infarser was funny?
It's funny now.
Names.
No, the name, we would have to ask around. That might be before anybody's time that's actually here. I don't know whose call that was.
What puzzle game did Time Magazine crown the greatest video game of all time?
Oh, was it Tetris, Mark?
Was it? I don't know. We'll have to check that.
Yeah, Leo in the
actually.
booth. You want to check the facts there?
Where did Tetris fall on the last annual Game Informer's bullshit game ranking feature?
Was it 3?
Favorite puzzle game? I don't know the answer.
Oh. It's like you should know that. I think it might have been.
Like I said, these kind of came together quick. Favorite puzzle game?
Oh, it's honestly Tetris by a mile.
Favorite Tetris puzzle game?
It is the Dr. Mario Tetris for Super Nintendo.
Favorite Tetris puzzle game with the initials TE?
Let's see. I will say Tetris Effect. I'm trying to think there's anything else to say, but I'm so into that effing song that I have to
Luckily,
say.
there's not any other Tetris game with the initials TE. Do you ever think about that steamy, dreamy, upside-down Spider-Man kiss while you're podcasting?
God damn it. All the time.
Paper or plastic?
Paper.
Boxer or briefs?
Boxers.
Potato or potato?
Potato.
Sega or Nintendo?
Nintendo.
Microsoft or Sony?
Sony.
High or low?
Low.
Left or right?
Right.
Least favorite minority?
Non-gamer.
Oh, touche. When is it okay to drink and drive?
Never.
Correct answer. Where were you born?
Wilmer, Minnesota.
How long have you lived in Minneapolis?
13 years.
Best thing about Minneapolis that isn't Prince.
Oregon Trail.
What is the Prince song Pussy Control about?
I feel like we asked that in one of our rapid fires.
Female empowerment.
Thank you.
True or false? The Mall of America has no heating system of its own.
That is false. But it sucks. Don't go there.
Our Uber driver is a liar.
Really?
Yes.
He said it was just human warmth?
Yes.
Ish.
Are you sure that that's not true?
I don't know.
All right. We'll have to have the Game Informer fact checkers out. How do you handle it when you need to ask interviewees an uncomfortable question?
I try and be very friendly setting up the cameras and then try and be as blunt and as clean as possible.
What ratio of Game Informer subscribers are fully paid subscriptions, and what ratio are free with the membership?
I have no idea, but I would love to know.
What year will the next PlayStation hit retail?
I want to say 2020, but it seems like now they're hinting towards 2021.
What did they hint at something recently?
On the Bombcast recently, they were quoting that some timeline worked out to 2021. I forget exactly what it was, but I still wouldn't be surprised by 2020.
What year will the next Nintendo hardware hit retail?
Not a redesign.
Let's say next Nintendo hardware.
Could be handheld.
Could be. Whatever the next piece of hardware they do, whether it's whatever it is.
2020.
So not a believer in the Switch 2 or whatever it is, redesigned Switch everybody's talking about.
Oh, wait, so the redesign counts?
Well, I mean, that's new hardware.
Oh, well, then, yeah, next summer, right?
Oh, okay. So you're saying that next summer and then something else in 2020?
I'm sure they're going to blow it and have some 3DS replacement in 2020.
Biggest upcoming change that's happening to games?
I don't know. The return of cross-gen? That's not exciting.
Biggest upcoming change coming to games coverage?
More and more raw, I think.
Game you like, everyone else hates?
Oh, Mushroom Wars.
Game you hate, everyone else loves?
Doom.
Was worst Twisted Metal character?
I mean, Rob Zombie.
Are you including him as an honorary Twisted Metal character?
He was in 3 or 4, yeah.
Rank the mainline Resident Evil games.
Personally here, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 5, 6.
Interesting. Well, you got 5, 6 right.
Okay, thank you.
Should someone who doesn't recognize a Parappa the Rapper song be allowed to work in a video game magazine?
Absolutely not. Cyril and Shay are out forever.
Who is your Smash main?
Link.
Smash alt.
Villager.
Character you want to see most in the next Smash?
Don't out me here, dude. Goku. I'm sorry.
Average hour work week for you at Game Informer?
43.
Podcast, better or worse without Tim Turi? Be honest.
I think I've gotten better, but Tim was better, made the podcast better when he was here. Does that make sense?
Very fine answer. No, it does.
Okay.
Life in general, better or worse without Tim Turi?
Oh, God, much worse.
Again, be honest.
Uh-huh.
Describe the difference between a 7.25 review score and a 7.5 review score.
I've never reviewed a game in my life. I don't have to answer this.
Best console ever?
PS2.
Best gaming controller ever?
Going the Duke.
Best podcast ever?
One up yours.
That's it.
I did not expect it to be so thorough, man.
So
Jesus
thorough.
Christ. I expected like 4 at the end or something. Good God.
That's what I was saying, man. Get set up. Yeah. If I would have had more time, I would have had more. I would have brought it more.
That's awesome. I'm very impressed. Well, hey, thank you so much for being here. We hope you enjoyed your stay in Minneapolis.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us. Big fans again. Happy just to be here. And yeah, of course, anytime you're back in Tokyo, I hope you'll be on the 8-4 podcast again.
I would love to be back.
Yeah, 8-4 play.
There we go. Yeah. Graham's doing a fine job. I noticed he's really blossoming. I think the most out of that crew.
Is he? Graham is great. No, yeah. Graham is absolutely. They're
because he has strong opinions.
Exactly. Yeah. And everybody, I think we have a good, strong cast right now. It's just that we've been down different people the last few weeks, last few episodes, I should say. But we'll be back stronger than ever very soon.
Perfect.
Believe me. Yes.
Love it. Keep the hype train rolling because it's just the best.
Oh, yeah.
Demo of Tetris Effect coming.
Yes, sir. So November 1st, Thursday, November 1st, it launches PlayStation 4 or VR. You can play it on either or both. PlayStation Store. It's free, of course. Playable only until the 5th, the morning of the 5th, the Monday. So it's just that weekend before the game comes out. And yeah, please check it out.
There we go.
Yeah.
Tetris Effect. Hell of a game. Congratulations, you guys. And best of luck with the launch.
Thanks so much.
Cool. And thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode of the Game Informer Show podcast. Be sure to tune in maybe even Friday for a bonus episode, but if not, then next Thursday for another episode. Bye, everybody.